Just take it. That's right. That'd be fun. That'd be super fun.
Hello, everybody, back over there in Twitch land. I'm Carlos A. Slicing. I'm the Dungeon Master for the first Betrayal campaign. This is a Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the World of Greyhawk, and it features some of my high-level patrons. I'd like to introduce them to you for those of you guys who don't usually tune in. Over on your top left-hand screen is David Aho. He will be playing the Half-Elven Ranger Arion. Say hello, David.
Morning.
Over there in the bottom left-hand corner, we'll have, under the heading Patrick Hope, is Patrick and his brother Jeremy. Patrick plays Agrias, and Jeremy plays Rainmar the Wildlight. Guys, say hello.
Hello.
Awesome. And over there in the right-hand bottom corner of our screen is possibly the most notorious member of our band at this point. That would be Brixton Beholder's Bane, played by Matthew Lazinski, everyone. Matthew, say hello to the crowd, your adoring public. As of right now, I tend to get more mail and more response about Brixton's life than anyone else's and what he's going through, but that stands to reason given his current craziness. So I want to handle a little bit of promotional stuff before we go on, as per usual. Right now, as everyone knows, I'm going to be, people call me the Rook. And this Rook is actually taking flight here in the next couple days. I will be on a plane going to Florida as of Tuesday, and I will be at GrogCon in Kissimmee, Florida. It's the inaugural convention. It's their first one, and I have been chosen as being one of the guests of honor. I've written the official game module for the convention. That is called. Oh, sorry about that, guys. That one is actually called The Porcelain Sword of Queen Ashala. Porcelain Sword of Queen Ashala is set in the Backlunish West. For those of you guys who don't know what that is, it's a area sort of Middle Eastern Persian in the World of Greyhawk. Not a lot of people have done too many modules there, so I wanted to do something fun with that and its background. So that was really really compelling to me. For those of you guys who are patrons or relatively new to our chat, I want to thank everybody out there who watches us and thank the patrons. We're going to be doing some fun stuff with the patron last night. My merch Valkyrie, Amanda Brew, and I last night, my beloved wife, we actually threw together some great ideas going forward for the patron. I'm really excited about that, and I think that you guys will be too. So those of you guys who are also patrons, most of you will have received or are going to be receiving in the next couple days your hard copy module of When Comes the Witching Hour. And you've already received all of your digital rewards. Amanda, if you haven't received them, please let me know as soon as you can so we can figure out what happened. But hopefully you guys like them a lot. It was Demon Month. In this campaign here right now, the first Betrayal, unless something really unusual happens, I doubt you'll be seeing any demons today, aside of Matthew. But we'll see what happens. Without further ado, guys, does anybody want to take care of anything promotional or anything? Anybody want to talk about what's going on with them before we launch into this?
I'll say one thing for anybody out there going to Gamehole. I've still got spots open for Thursday 1 to 6 and Sunday from 8 to 1. First edition AD&D.
Yes, and David is a very, very, very good DM, creative. You guys will really like. You guys won't regret joining up in his game. David, Patrick, and Jeremy will also be at the show. So any of you guys who wants to introduce yourselves, or you guys would like, to talk to them about the game or things like that, feel free to approach them. They're all great guys, and I think everything will go really well. Matthew, I know maybe next year, right, buddy? The last thing I want to address before we going forward is everyone here has had some chances to roll for special abilities. The way that I've done secondary skills this campaign, it's a 1E game, but what I've done is I've taken the Dungeoneer's Survival Guide / Oriental Adventures methodology of giving non-weapon proficiencies. As many of you might know, that was an additional rule set. But the way we've done it is a little bit different. I didn't give anybody any of them at the beginning of the game. what I did was I allowed them to, as they came upon a situation, if they wanted to try and have that skill, they could. And in that way, they would we would learn a little bit about their characters, and they'd have a little bit more control over their destinies. Um, in particular, Patrick's character, Agrias, the Tenebrous Hand, some of you may or may not know that he comes from an ancient elvish order of swordsmen. And in particular, I have written a martial art for Agrias that he has unlocked as part of his now weapon proficiencies. Agrias, did you decide on what your two special moves your special maneuvers would be from your martial art, or would you like to handle that a little bit later?
So do you have to have mental 1 as a prerequisite for mental 2?
No, you do not.
Okay.
While Patrick decides out there, just so you guys know, the martial art that I've done is a weapons martial art. It's a little bit unusual. Patrick's character incorporates some third edition concepts, particularly the ones released in the Duskblade set, where you're almost like a spell, or maybe even a spell blade would be more accurate. You're doing a lot of things using your actual sword in the place of somatic components, and you're able to transfer sometimes at higher levels of accomplishment spells through your blade. So, for example, when he might hit with a weapon, maybe he decides that it also has burning hands attached to it. So that will be something he could go and do a little bit further on down the line. It won't be accessible to him right away based on his martial arts proficiency, but for those of you who are interested in seeing what I've done with that, I would be more than happy to show you guys that martial art going forward. But, Patrick, what do you got, buddy?
I'm going to do mental 2 and mental 4.
Ooh, okay, you've just chosen the two mental abilities. Could you go ahead and tell the crew what abilities those are entitled?
Yes, so mental 2 is all-around sight, titled The Darkness Never Sleeps. You just want me to read what they say?
No, just the titles of them.
Oh, okay. And then mental 4 is blind fighting, darkness pierced through darkness.
Okay. You'll hear the titles of the actual ability, all-around sight and blind fighting. For those of you who are familiar with the Oriental Adventures set, that will enable Patrick to actually basically have eyes in the back of his head, 360-degree vision when he's using that ability. And blind fighting allows him not only to see when he's blinded, but to see or to fight in total darkness situations. So it's a very versatile ability. The secondary names that you heard mentioned about that are actually what his order refers to that ability as in-game. So, okay, Patrick, those are the abilities that you have mastered right now from your order. You are aware that those other abilities exist. You've seen other more accomplished masters of your art use those. And you will be able to, more importantly, when they're being employed around you, you'll be able to recognize them. So, for example, if there's a practitioner of your art that you're fighting, and he happens to use, or she happens to use, I don't know, the Tenebrous Hand ability, you'll recognize that right away. Okay. So that'll be that's a good advantage for you. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin. When we last left our intrepid heroes, Agrias, Rainmar, and Arion were with the caravan. Their current mission is they've left the village of Caverick's Cove, which is along Radix, east coast, right along the Solnar Ocean, and they're supposed to deliver timber and laborers along that road, the south road, leaving. Hey, thanks, Lord Gasamba. We really appreciate it. They're leaving that area in order to deliver work laborers and timber along that south road, and they've realized that it's for a mission done by archaeologists to learn more about the elvish history. There's some thoughts that some of them, there might be a lost tribe of elves in the Solnar Ocean. So they're part of that group right now. Recently, Rainmar has rejoined the group after being separated from them for quite some time. what Rainmar did was he was actually abducted by Faye, and he learned that his wolf pup was actually a warg, a baby warg, and he parlayed with the parents of that to allow him to actually raise it without violence. And he actually got a couple cool, through his own role playing, his excellence in role playing, he was able to gain the ability to, the blessing of the pack leader to assemble a pack of his own. And he was also, the pledge was given by the warg pack to come to his aid if he ever needed it, and they were able to hear them. But more importantly, 2 days before, Brixton left the group with the two dwarves, Merrick and Gendra, and the frost barbarian Solveig, and one of his two apprentices, Sonny. They explored a trap door that was in the middle of the South Road, and unfortunately, they found out that it was an orc nest, a lair of orcs, orc bandits. And unfortunately, Brixton barely emerged with his life, and two of his friends actually died. Jindra and Solveig were dead. So it was basically him, Merrick, and Sonny were left. They were actually able to escape using his hippocampus familiar after reaching an area in which the orc lair abutted the ocean. And now they are on the South Road on the beach, pretty much laying in wait for the caravan to reach them so that they could rejoin the group. I think that's a pretty accurate recap of what's going on. Arion, the first thing in the morning, your group at Agrias's instructions, you reassembled the wagon train, which has been joined by Rainmar's associate, Nelson. Nelson is driving a wedding, an actual wedding carriage. It's not very well protected, but he's being paid by the group at this point, so he's agreed to join. The wedding carriage, Agrias and Arion, where would you like to put them in terms of the procession? Near the front, near the back, or in the middle?
In the lead.
Okay. So now then, at that point, if that's true, then Nelson and Arion are going to be side by side, or is actually Nelson going to be right behind Arion?
Arion's going to be in the front with Nelson.
Okay. Okay. Arion, you and Nelson are right at the front, the two teamsters driving the carriage. Arion,
Right.
you're with Nelson. Which one of you guys would like to drive the carriage? Actually.
I'll let Nelson do that.
Okay. Nelson looks over at you. He goes, I really don't care. He goes, you seem like you know what you're doing. If you feel like driving, I'm fine with that.
I'll spell you if you get tired of it. I'm just gonna keep a watch, and I've got bow and everything at
Sounds perfect.
arms, whatever.
Sounds perfect. So your group actually started to go south again. Now, Agrias was under the opinion that, or excuse me, Arion was of the opinion, he told Agrias and Rainmar that you guys would probably be at the location the next day, maybe day and a half, depending on what kind of progress you made. So it's a day filled with anticipation. The sky over Radek right now is a little bit overcast, but Arion has assured you that he does not believe it will rain today. Despite the fact that it's pretty windy, he thinks the rain's going to hold off. The forest is still along your west at about 300 yards, and about 100 yards over to the east is the ocean. So the caravan began its procession, and you travel for most of the morning without incident until about, by your guess, it's probably about maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock. Brixton, at that point in time, you guys are all in your lean-to, and for the exception of Merrick, who has been outside keeping watch. You and Sonny have been inside. Sonny gave you guys a nice fish breakfast. And Merrick kind of comes over. You hear his voice over the top of the lean-to. He goes, "We've got company. Looks like our guys."
Cool, let's go greet them.
Okay. So are you going to go out and greet them as well?
With Merrick?
Yep.
I feel like we should all go out.
Okay. You go out, and as soon as you get out of the lean-to and start going up the side, the sloping side of the path, you start to feel your connection with your familiar disappearing. You're healthy enough now that the poison is abated that you don't believe it will hurt you.
Got it.
So, Arion, you're driving the carriages forward, and in the middle of the road, coming up the side of the, you see coming, clambering up the side of the path, there are two figures in the distance. Nelson just kind of nods in your direction, but you realize pretty quickly you've got really good sight. Your elvish heritage sees to that, and the fact that you're a ranger, you've trained it a lot as a scout. You can see it's Brixton and Merrick right away.
I'm trying to figure out how they got there ahead of us, but
yeah,
okay.
Exactly. It's quite a surprise. Ariane, are you going to tell anybody in the rear of the party what you've seen?
Anybody that I can just, close enough where I can shout, and because I think Eric is in the one next to me. If we just moved one behind.
Okay.
Carlos,
Yes.
would I have been able to spot since I was on patrol across the top of the caravan?
Yes, you can. As soon as Ariane says that, Agrias, Lily starts to stir next to you. She goes, "It's like, sisters, are you there?" She looks like she's Rainmar. You see her laying there, one of Brixton's apprentices. You don't know. She looks like she slept on top of the carriage all night, and she looks a mess right now. She must have been in the deepest sleep ever.
Okay.
So what are you going to do, Raymar? Are you going to do anything that you spotted them?
I'm going to send the pup ahead to greet them.
Okay.
With a hand signal.
Okay. Agrias, you watch as Rainmar starts to kind of grab on this. He scoops up his pup, swoops down kind of on the side of the carriage because you're going forward at speed. Gets on one hand, holds it, and he kind of talks to his pup. He's able to lean it down pretty softly, and the pup starts running ahead of the group. Brixton, you see the wolf cub starting to run your way. Merrick looks over at you. He says, he goes, "You know these guys could be bandits in disguise or something."
Maybe.
You want me to be ready?
Yeah.
All right. Ariane, you notice you notice that Merrick's hand is kind of over at his side on his axe. He's just kind of playing with a handle a little bit. Ariane, how far ahead of these guys are you going to stop? Or are you going to stop when you get right to them?
How far away are they right now?
Probably about maybe 200 feet. The wolf cub runs ahead of your group, and Brixton, he immediately runs over to you and Merrick and starts sniffing at your legs.
I'd slow down just maybe 50 feet away or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Starts sniffing at both of your legs. You see the wolf cub look back a couple times at the approaching caravan. It's really hard to say what his behavior means, but keeps looking back every once in a while. But Ariane, in the meantime, you notice that you haven't seen Tobias all night. It just occurs to you that he seems to have disappeared.
Oh, he's not on
No.
the seat or whatever?
No, at some point in time, he obviously left your seat cover, probably when you were asleep, and has gone somewhere else. Oh,
okay.
Matthew, the caravan, as the wolf pup's sniffing at your legs, Merrick kind of looks over. He looks down at the pup. He goes, "Well, I guess it must be them." He goes, "I don't think that the bandits would go to this length to disguise themselves."
Probably not.
Looks up at Ariane, pulls up his axe. He goes, "Oh, brother Ariane." Waves his axe.
Morning, Merrick.
You would not believe the day we've had. Sighs.
That sounds ominous.
Ariane, you look at him. He is a wreck. He looks like he's tired, bedraggled. He's wet all over still. Looks like he hasn't dried very well. He's got a kind of a grim expression on his face. Sonny is kind of hiding a little bit behind Brixton's leg. You see? There's obviously something has happened. It's clear right away to you. Agrias and Rainmar. Rainmar, you're over at top of the. You're at the top of the.
Where are the other two?
Hold on, just for a second. Agrias and Rainmar, you're on top of that other carriage. Lily looks over at you. Is it breakfast? Do I need to make breakfast?
Yeah, why don't you get started on breakfast?
Okay. She goes through the trap door at the top of the thing. Agrias, what are you gonna do? Just wait to see how this plays out?
Yeah, I noticed two are missing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you notice two are missing, and you notice that you can see the expression on Americ's face as well.
Do we have any laborers or anybody working for us that we can tell to kind of get over there with Merrick and get him cleaned up and
Yeah, you can actually. You're on top, and you've been bounding back and forth across all these caravans to do so. The caravan right behind you has a couple of laborers,
All right.
and that's also the one that Ilin is in. So it would be pretty easy for you to go over there. Are you going to instruct him to do that?
What about Herrick?
Herrick, meanwhile, has been at the back of the party with his crossbow, just kind of waiting for this whole thing. Herrick is a weird character in that he doesn't ever seem to sleep.
I like him already.
He just kind of, even less than an elf, he just kind of always is looking at the horizon, looking out at the sea. And every time you've gone back there to see him, he's just been like, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, "Agrias gave me the job to look over the crew. I'm just making sure the crew's looked after."
I'm going to say to Herrick that something is amiss with the party, with Brixton's party that just returned, and I want him to stay on guard at the back of the caravan.
He nods. Got it. He says, "Be careful up front, all right?"
And then I rejoin Agrias.
Okay, Agrias. Agrias, you're on top of the caravan, and as soon as Raymar's about maybe 3 caravans away bounding back to you, you hear Lily inside of the caravan scream.
Okay, I open the door to see it, the trap door to see what's going on.
You look at the trapdoor. She's all the way at the back, pinned at the back wall of the caravan. You look down, and inside of the carriage is this destruction of foodstuffs everywhere. Okay? Tobias is laying on his back, nearly unconscious, and all this food has been eaten, mangled, whatever. And Lily looks over at you upstairs. Every time I get close, he keeps growling at me. Agrias, you're looking down there. This is a real problem. Because you probably have, looking down, if you had to guess, you probably have about half of the food that you had to begin with. Tops.
Okay. We might want to tell Ariel about that.
Lily says, if you want me to make breakfast, I maybe we can ask him to come up really nice and he won't bite me.
No, I want you to go get Arion.
Okay. She clambers up through the top of the roof again. Starts walking up. Matthew, meanwhile, from behind your leg, Sonny goes, "It's Lily." She kind of points over at her because she appears at the front of the caravan talking to Arion. Brixton, out the side door of one of the caravans, you see a couple laborers come out. They poke their heads out and they start walking up towards your direction. Arion, Lily goes over there. She kind of looks at you. She goes, "Mr. Arion?"
Yes.
Tobias is in the other caravan behind you. And I think he doesn't need to eat anything today.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Nelson looks over at you. He goes, "Problems?"
Alona, damn it.
Yeah. He looks over. He goes, "Problems?" Nelson says.
My little companion decided he wanted to get very large. So I got to go and take care of him.
That doesn't sound real good. I don't know what your companion is, and I don't know what you mean, but that doesn't sound very good.
You met him briefly in this whole thing. He was Wolverine.
Oh. Okay. Did he eat somebody?
Oh, no, he got into our food stores, apparently.
Yeah, well, he goes, if I know Wolverines at all, he points over at Lily and he goes, that'd be the first one he'd go for, the little one. She looks horrified when he says that. No
I know another
offense.
little one I'd
It's
probably
just
pick
true.
them after, but
She kind of looks really afraid. I'm going to go back with Mr. Agrias now.
okay. I'll go back and try to take care of Tobias here.
Brixton, the laborers come up to you. They look at you. Brixton Beholder's Bane?
That's me.
We got orders back there. One of them holds out a big pot. It looks like almost like a clay vessel, like a vase. Says, "Because we got orders to clean you two up." The boss man said, you guys look pretty bad."
Start with Merrick.
He nods.
And then immediately after, please clean up his sister.
Oh, so bad. That is so wrong.
Ouch! That had to hurt.
Agrias, Lily jumps back. She goes, I told him,
Okay.
like you said.
All right, go ahead and just plop on down.
She nods. Arion and Agrias, this would be a good time at this point, as well as Brixton. What spells have you guys memorized for the day?
I might as well just keep the same ones I've had before as
Okay.
Cure Light, 2 Cure Lights and Protection from Evil.
Excellent. Agrias?
Magic missile.
Okay, Brixton?
I did 2 Delusion, Haze, Mouse, and Color Spray.
All right. Good choices, everybody. Okay, Brixton, they kind of pull, the laborers ask Merrick to get off to the side of the road, down the rise a little bit, where he has a little bit more privacy. And you can see they're kind of pouring water from the jug all over him, kind of helping clean him up a little bit. Elin pops her head out of the one of the things, as does Einar from about 3 carriages back. Elin comes up and she starts walking across. She doesn't. Elin is a little bit overweight, a little out of shape, and she has a much harder time jumping between caravans than does Rainmar. In fact, after she tries to do the first one, she actually climbs down and comes over to yours, climbs up the side of yours, and greets you good morning. I see our friends are here. Some of them. Want to tell me what that's about?
Who's she talking to?
You two.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Hey, girl.
She looks over. Good morning. She says, where is everyone? She looks over at their crew. Einar is climbing down the side of his carriage and just walking straight up to their group.
Well, I don't know. Perhaps we ought to go check it out. It seems like something is amiss up there.
Oh, no. That's not good. I count 3 out of 5.
They might need a healer.
She jumps down. You coming with?
No, I'm gonna hang back. And
okay.
I gesture for my little wolf princess to come back.
Okay, the wolf starts walking back, and as you gesture, it starts loping faster. Brixton, you see Einar walking back to you and Sunny, and Merrick is still over the edge of the rise getting cleaned up, so you're by yourself there, standing there. He's looking around furtively, kind of sees the shelter, walks up to you. Beholder's Bane.
Einar.
Where's Solveig?
She didn't make it.
Sonny starts kind of silently weeping at your side. He looks over at you.
We owe her our lives.
What happened?
We were ambushed by orc bandits. She sacrificed herself so that we can make it out of there.
He grits his teeth. Where's her body?
She was poisoned.
Where was her body?
It's down in the tunnels.
Which part?
She blew herself up with white pitch.
Ah, I see. Raymar hasn't watched that episode yet. He looks at you. So in truth, there is no body. She burned to ash. He nods.
Yeah. I have found a token that I'd like to give you on her behalf.
He nods.
We couldn't get anything.
And this is?
Can I reach in for that little weird bracelet thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll.
He look at it. Einar looks at it. He picks it up.
I feel like she would have liked this.
Indeed. She enjoyed the color yellow. Looks at it. She died as she would have lived, you know. Shakes his head a bit.
She would have lived exploding from light pitch.
He looks at you. He says, "We are fortunate. As a reverend of Vetun, she is with him in his great hall right now. And I would assume preparing herself for the endless battle." He looks down over at Merrick. "I assume Jindra as well."
You assume correct.
He sighs. "How well is he taking it?"
Not very.
Better than Jenny took it.
Oh, wow, bro.
Oh, that's
sweet for you.
great bedside manner there, Raymar. He nods. "I would assume so. They are not the devout
But
of
we
Vetun after all. Their afterlife is not so similar."
We have her body.
Indeed.
She managed to crawl out of the rubble.
I suppose with your spells you could not save her.
No.
He nods.
I don't have that kind of magic.
He looks over at you. He goes, "Would you like to tell Agrias or should I?"
I'll tell him.
"I think you should go then. I will speak to Merrick." Kind of claps you on the shoulder a little bit. He goes, "I want you to know something. Because my sister thought you were worthy enough to give up her life so that you could live. Do not squander your chance."
It won't be in vain.
He nods. He kind of
I'm
taps
sorry
his
for your
shield a
loss.
couple times. He says, he nods. He goes, "For the glory of the Thruzti." He walks down along the side of the thing, the side of the embankment, and as you see him walk back, he seems a little bit hollow, perhaps, but at the same time, he took that way better than you might have expected. You had a right to
100%.
expect, really.
100%.
Arion, you're going back to the carriage. You're staying on the one that Agrias and Raymar is on now. The trapdoor is open. Tobias is in the middle of the middle of the carriage. You can look straight down through the trapdoor. He's laying on his back, rolling around. He kind of, if you didn't know better, you'd see he has a smug little grin on his face when he's looking up at you.
I'm glaring at him.
He has this smug little grin on his face, rolling back and forth. Just kind of growls a little bit, contentedly.
I wish I could talk to him still, but
Arion, Lynn looks up at you. She goes, "You can if you wish."
I wish I could do it. I don't know how permanently this is, but I'm gonna.
She shakes her head.
How long does? I can't remember. How long does that stuff last?
Several hours.
Something. I got to get him out of here before he falls asleep too. So.
Very well, she says, and she looks up at you, and she kind of makes a movement of her hands, a little kind of almost like a half moon. It trails stardust in the air, like a green glittering stardust. She holds out her hand, reaches in, grabs out her mug, opens her hand, and this trickle of beer starts to pour out into the mug. She holds up the mug. She goes, "Drink this."
I do so.
It's pretty good actually. It's got kind of a earthy flavor. Maybe it tastes like it's been it's been brewed from very wild hops. You drink it and immediately you feel it take over yourself. You can hear Tobias growling inside the caravan, looking up at you. He looks up at you and he's like, "I ate and I ate and I ate some more and
And
then
I'm
I
very
ate some more."
displeased with you.
Why? I left you some.
Not just for me, it's for everybody else.
You're a
You're not
hunter.
the only one
Why are
here.
you worried about it? All you have to
Because
go. You and I'll go out there later after I sleep this off, and we'll kill a couple deer. We'll bring them back, and there'll be plenty for everybody. Right?
maybe.
Why do you smell like
Don't-
fish?
You're not smelling right anyway.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's right.
You
I
need to
had
get,
17
you
fishes
need
a
to
few
get out of
moments ago.
there. You're going to be banished to one of the other wagons. You can't stay here.
Oh yeah? He says. He looks up at you. He goes, "Why don't you move me, big boy?"
I'm going to try.
No, really, I mean move me, because I can't stand up right now.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm going to try to drag him
You
out of
get
there.
down there, you pick him up. Arion and Agrias, I should say, and Rainmar. You guys have been hearing Arion growling back and forth through this thing. He disappears down to the trapdoor. He comes up with the Wolverine. This Wolverine is about 4 times heavier than it looks like. Its gut is actually distended as it looks up at you. It growls at both of them as it picks him up. Arion, the growl is like, "Hey guys, I left you some food."
I need to spank this boy.
Agrias, Brixton is walking up to the caravan at this point in time. He's a
Okay.
mess. He looks very hollow. Lily jumps down off the side of the caravan, runs over to her sister. They start talking. And about maybe 5 feet before Brixton reaches the caravan, Lily just bursts into tears. And she starts hugging her sister. They're both crying their eyes out. Agrias, Brixton is at the foot of the caravan.
Good day.
Has it been?
Well, I mean, it's had its ups and downs. Mostly downs.
All right, tell me what happened.
We lost Solveig and Jindra.
Did I hear that?
Yeah, you heard it on your way to the next. You've got Tobias in your hand. You're trying to jump between caravans, and you heard that.
I accidentally dropped him and I said, "What?"
Tobias takes the plunge between caravans, hits the ground. You hear he doesn't even make. He just goes. You just hear this. Ugh, when he hits the ground.
Jesus Christ.
The wolf
Do
pup
we
kind of.
have their bodies?
The wolf pup kind of looks down at him, just in wonderment. Agrias, you and Brixton in the meantime, and Raymar, you're also there too.
I quick tell the wolf cub, don't take any hints from him.
It looks over at him. It looks over at. It says, she goes, "Oh no, I'm a good girl." She goes, "I'm with Master.
Stay that way.
Master's gonna teach me how to be a big and powerful warg,
Okay.
and
No,
I have a surprise for him later.
that's good.
No, it's a really good one. Make sure you're around, right around before bed. If I'm awake, I'm gonna do something really neat.
Oh boy.
I learned a trick."
So Brixton.
Brixton, Arion just kind of is wandering back. All 3 of these guys are on top of the same carriage that you're on the foot of. Are you gonna jump up to join them?
Yeah. As on my way up, I tell Agrias that we have Jindra's body and not Solveig's.
What happened to Solveig's body?
Yes.
She sacrificed herself to save us. She was poisoned and then blew herself up with white pitch.
Lure
Okay.
stuff up with white pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if I may,
Yeah.
I immediately break out my guitar and start playing some somber music for the dead.
Start rolling me roll me a 20, Jeremy. Or Raymar, I should say.
18.
Who
15,
said-
you said?
18.
18. He starts playing. It's not the best you've ever heard him play. He probably just woke up, but he's playing. It's somber music. It's kind of got. Meanwhile, at the foot of the caravan, hearing the music, Sonny and Lily just start crying even harder. It's like the saddest moment ever. Brixton, continue your explanation of what happened, if you will.
That's all I got. No,
Well, you guys were stuck in the tunnels for a while, I would think. Did you find anything?
lots of orcs.
Okay.
Mm.
They ambushed us. We did what we could to make it out. Solveig sacrificed herself to save us, and Jindra crawled out of the rebel and died when she got to us. And then Merrick carried her body as there was a tunnel east that we fled to, and we just kept running. And then there was underground tunnels to a secret island, and there we found a boat, and I called Aurora, and she took us to
You call who?
Aurora, my familiar.
Mm.
Did you kill? Were all the orcs killed, or were there more?
There were some that followed us, but we buried them in the tunnel.
Did you collapse the tunnel or something?
There was a trap that flooded the tunnel, and so
Okay.
when
Did you
they
set
came,
the trap?
did I reset it?
Did you set the trap?
Yes, kind of.
Uh-huh.
It was there, and we set it off.
So are
I'm
they dead?
still down here. You hear Tobias say, Arion.
You ate too much. You pay the price.
Okay, well,
I feel a few of them are dead, but I still feel like there's a lot of orcs
So
alive.
we might have something coming up behind us.
Merrick and Einar are walking up the way along with the other laborers.
Okay.
Mhm.
I shake my head at Brixton and let him deal with that. I'm gonna go talk to those two.
Okay. Jump down off the caravan, start talking to him. Hey, don't forget I'm laying here. I'll just stay here. I'll guard this horse's leg.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
It looks pretty tasty, but I don't think I could eat another bite. Who am I kidding? I could eat another bite.
Shut up.
He does. Agrias, you and Raymar, what are you gonna do with you three are standing there still?
yeah, I'm gonna tell Brixton to go get washed up. Tell Sonny and Lily to start making breakfast for everyone, and get him, Merrick and himself served first.
And we have some stuff down at the beach still to settle up.
Okay, I'll send some laborers to go take it and pick it up.
Okay. Agrias, you go ahead and give the order for some laborers.
I'll
The
Can I
other
lead them
laborers
down there?
meet. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brixton.
Can I lead them down there?
Of course you can. Yeah. Brixton goes down. He starts leading the laborers down there, which is just as well because they were coming to get him anyway to clean him up. They take him down to the beach. Brixton, as you get down to the beach, you start feeling a little bit stronger, a little bit more robust. You know Aurora is close. Aurora is close in the water. In the meantime, Arion, you go ahead and you meet Einar and Merrick as they come up. They're at the foot of the carriage where Agrias and Rainmar are. They're looking down upon the group of you. Einar has this kind of a more or less a hollow look on his face, but he's kind of stoic. Merrick he's just kind of chewing on his lip a little bit. He looks over at you, says, "I'm sorry."
Sorry. I was gonna say the same to you.
No, I know you were a friend. He looks up at you, up at Rainmar. He goes, "I'm sorry." He goes, Jindra thought a lot of you.
I just, I just continue to play.
He just nods. He looks over at Arion. Einar just looks over at Arion. Things will be different now, he says to you.
Yeah, that's not going without saying.
I think you missed my meaning, he says, looking at you.
Most likely.
I will be blunt. You look like a demon in the flesh of a man. I did not like you. Not a bit. But my sister did, so I withheld my tongue. Now you are to me as she was to you. I will honor her with your friendship, if you'll accept it.
I accept that.
He nods.
And
He says, I want you to
know
know that she's with Vatun right now and preparing for the endless battle.
That's sort of what I want to talk to, but I'm trying to talk to both of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I came to talk to you. I don't know the particulars of it, but what Brixton had said was, how Solveig went. And I don't know the particulars on Batun's, patronage or whatever, or how,
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. But it almost seems like that would be the way she would want it to go.
Oh, certainly.
So, and if I can pick your brains later, or both your brains later, as to if I can do anything as I'm a
we will speak.
Clergy, I would like to try to.
Einar nods. He goes, we will speak on it. He looks over at you, Agrias. Merrick looks over at you. He says, Beholder's Bane. He's very complicated. On one hand, there can be no doubt that his actions resulted in the deaths of our sisters. But on the other hand, he comported himself well in the tunnels.
Okay.
You should know this as his foreman. She looks over at you. He looks over at you, Agrias. His spells were of little use, but his mind was of great use. He is clever. So I do not know if you wish to punish him for his actions, but if you do, I would recommend some leniency. He has seen much as well as I have.
Understood.
I'm now the last of our clan, he looks at you. He goes, there is no... The Magmaborns are... Our family line ends with me now. So, I would ask you a boon if I could. From this point forward, I will lead our group into battle. I will be the first axe ahead of us, so that orcs in the future would know our name before we finally leave the world.
I thought he was going to ask for some little dwarf girls to populate with. Okay, that's way easier to accommodate, dude.
I mean, well, gnomes do.
He looks up at you. He goes, would you grant me that boon?
So he's asking us, or he's asking me if
Yeah.
he can lead everyone into battle.
Yeah, from now on, whenever the charge is made, if a charge is made by the group, he wants to be the first one out. Agrias, you've seen this behavior before. It's very fatalistic. He's basically probably a suicide attacker at this point.
That's.
Ariane, what do you have?
I was gonna say I'm okay with that as long as it's not some kind of suicidal type of thing like you're saying. That's
I'm
the
okay
first thing
with
that
it.
came to my
He
mind.
shakes his head. He says, "No," he says, "but my sister, when she died, you must realize, she died gloriously in fire and smoke, with dead orcs all around her. What else could a dwarf really want in life?" He looks at you and smiles. "I would go the same way."
I wouldn't know. I'm not a dwarf.
He laughs. He says, "If Ginny could have written a tale about her death, it would have read something like that. Although I think she would have preferred to have you at her side, Rainmar." She looks up at you. He looks up at you. "As I said, she was very fond of you."
I was very fond of her. Went around.
"Enough of this." He goes, "This is not how I would live my life. When do we leave? When do we push forward?" In the distance, Agrias, you can see that the laborers are coming back. Brixton, they've cleaned you up over at the beach, and they're hauling back this treasure chest. Agrias, you see it too. It's a very large treasure chest. It's almost as large as Brixton is. You don't know how he carried it. He must have almost got himself killed trying to carry that thing out of there. But they're struggling with its weight a little bit.
Good. Well, all the
Okay.
coins are in the bag, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
He looks over at your. Merrick looks over at the chest and looks back at you. Says, "Much of what we have, what we found, is valuable."
Okay, whatever.
I tell Merrick that I'll grant his request, but we should have this conversation when our hearts are lighter.
He nods. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I second that.
Fair enough. Elin's coming over with the rest of the group.
Is
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, where's Ginny's body? Is it still?
Yeah, he's still got it.
Oh, he's holding her.
No, he doesn't hold her now. It was with the chest, so they're carrying it.
Yeah.
It's shrouded up in linen.
Okay.
That was Elin's doing as they walk back. Elin looks over at you. She says, she goes, "Ariane, I think you were right about the weather," she says, but she nods out at the sea and says, "I think it's going to be rough out there today." Looks over at you, Brixton. She says, "I don't think it makes much of a difference to your familiar, but something you should know."
I mean, is it gonna? Why would she be pointing that out, being out there, unless they're talking about the ship or whatever?
Well, that's exactly what I mean. She says, "We all know what the mission of Prokanzai is. And I'm just
Right.
saying that I don't think we beat them there, but they may not be able to. They're not going to be able to travel out to sea for some time, I think."
Okay.
She looks over at Agrias, and she walks up at the. She's walking up to the top of the caravan with the rest of you. "I'm still down here," you hear from down the bottom.
Yeah, no, and you're gonna. I'm gonna grab him and try to get him into
Okay.
a
Elin looks at
non
Agrias. She
non
says,
a non-food part of the caravan.
"Right, right. You're going to take him to one of the wood-filled ones." Elin looks
Right.
over at you, Agrias. She says, "This is not good. Our power's been halved."
I understand that. So is our food.
"What's happened with our food?" "Oh,"
Take a look at
she rolls her eyes. She goes, "I understand now. Gluttons they are, Wolverines." She kind of chuckles to herself.
I hope he gets indigestion for a while.
"Oh, he's gonna be in bad shape later. Would you like me to go collect some berries and some edibles over in the edge of the
If
woods?
you can figure something out that will help out, be my guest.
She
I
looks at
really
you,
don't want to have
Agrias. You're the foreman. Do I have authorization to go there and collect some food? Or are we going to leave right away?
Let's sit down and eat before we pack out.
She nods. Fair enough. So the whole collection of your group sits in a big circle over there at the beach area where the wind and the waves are powerful. They're lashing around. Every once in a while, you'll see a sign of something large flash through the water. It's obviously Aurora. Uh, Weirdly enough, none of the laborers or anything seems to be too perturbed by what's happening. They're all mercenaries, though. I mean, maybe it does make some sense after a fashion. And they really didn't have any attachment to any of you. Sonny and Lily come back with their food, and everything that you guys eat today has honey on it. And you find out that that was because they found out that that was Solveig's favorite food. So everybody's eating honey with
Okay.
with their food.
I have a question.
I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
That, if we're noticing the weather out on the
Mhm.
ocean, or whatever. Is it seeming more natural out there? Or is it unnatural?
No, it's natural.
Like,
It's natural.
natural?
And as a ranger, you can tell that right away.
Right.
Yeah, it's just bad season. That's all for the
Okay,
weather.
I didn't know if something like our fireball wizard has weather control too. So
No, he might, but not right now.
Ooh,
So
we know
anyway,
what to do
Agrias,
now.
your rest of your team eats. You're done probably in about an hour. Arion,
I was sitting
you-
on Tobias's stomach while I was eating my food.
Arion, you locked Tobias in one of the wood caravans. He's just trying to sleep it off.
Okay.
Rainmar, your wolf pup, is super behaved during dinner. It just sits there at your side, doesn't eat anything, but it stares at the plates the whole time, back and forth.
I will feed her by hand a couple of things during the meal.
Okay, what are you going to feed her in particular? Meat, vegetables, nuts. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I want to feed her a variety of things.
Okay.
Yeah, probably less cooked vegetables and whatever meat is available.
A growing girl she is. She will eat as much as you want to give her.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. In addition to that, while I'm kind of hand feeding her, I'm scribbling in my notebook, documenting what Brixton said about what happened.
Right. During your meal, Merrick is sitting next to you, and one of the laborers walks up to you, sits down, starts eating, looking at your pup. He says, "Hey," he goes, "I heard you playing earlier." He goes, "You're pretty talented."
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He goes, "I'm Kelvin. It's nice to meet you. I'm a carpenter."
Kelvin, I'm Rainmar.
Nods. He looks over, just says, some of the guys were talking, and they're kind of wondering when we're going to get there."
Well, I believe that we're headed out as soon as the meal is complete.
Nods. I just need some of them, I guess, being a little bit older than they are. They kind of look up to me for answers. So I just was wondering maybe if yeah. So good. I have something to tell them now. He goes, "I won't bother you anymore." Says, but I do wonder, looks over at Brixton and looks over at Einar. Because everybody seems a little bit down today. He goes, "Something happened?"
Yeah, we lost a couple of people today.
Oh, the people we left behind?
Yeah.
Merrick looks up at him and says, "Yeah, one of them was my sister." Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll tell the guys what you've said, and I'll tell them not to ask any more questions. He goes, "I'm sorry if I..." He just kind of walks away.
That would be prudent.
Yeah, he walks away. The wolf pup kind of looks at him as he walks away. looks back at you. Ariane, you're sitting there at dinner, at breakfast with everybody else, and the wolf pup looks at you. Ariane, he goes, she says, "Did I tell you I'm gonna do a trick later on today?"
Yes.
She nods. She goes, "It's gonna be really cool." She says, I know Master is gonna love this."
Do you want me to? You want me to give him a heads up, or you want to surprise him?
Let it be a surprise.
All right.
Let it be a
I'll-
surprise.
I'll zip my lip then.
It's a cool trick. And the best part is I taught it to myself.
Uh-oh.
Because Master's
sounds like a
teaching
great-
Master's gonna
that
teach
almost
me how to
sounds-
be a big and strong warg. And I'm gonna be just like my mom and dad. And you saw them the other day because I can smell them on you. And they're really powerful and strong and fast and smart. And I'm gonna be just like them.
Oh my. This almost sounds like a brick and it's going to be a great thing.
Sounds like a threat, really.
Oh, actually, Agrias, I should say Rainmar, you're listening to this conversation go back and forth. These kind of between pants and kind of almost like mini howls and things between Ariane and him. It does have the quality almost of a threat. It does have that. Ariane, you're not getting that out of it. It's more like to you, like a promise. It's like, I'm going to be strong one day and everybody better watch out.
Okay.
So someday
Oh,
I'll be
okay, so
strong.
I'm getting more of a positive vibe. He's getting more of a negative vibe.
Yeah. Well, he's just thinking to himself, yeah, it sounds like it might be bad, but actually it's more of a, I'm going to be really tough one day and everybody in the animal kingdom better watch out for me.
All right.
But when I hear this tone from her, I give her a little, hey, fucking chill out.
Settle down.
Kind of lowers herself down to the ground, looks up at you, Ariane, and says, he's really going to love this trick.
In fact, I clearly can tell that Arion is talking to her, right?
Right.
I tell him to tell her that this hand signal means settle down.
Is that what you're going to tell her, Ariane?
Yeah, this is the settle down.
Are you going to respond to that? You going to deliver the message?
I'll sort of with a little bit of a grin because I can see that he doesn't really understand what she's saying.
Right.
In her mind, but I'll relay the message.
She says, she looks over. You hear Rainmar, you hear the kind of the chipping back and forth, and she looks back up at you, and she's looking right at your hand. She sits back down and lays down on herself, kind of folds her arms underneath herself. She's got, David, she's got the most green, burning eyes ever. And she looks up at you and she says, I'm a good girl.
All
right.
Brixton, meanwhile, you're sitting there.
I'll reach over there and sort of scratch between her ears.
Brixton, you're sitting there over at your group, and Elin sits down next to you. She looks over, she says, how you holding up?
I think I'm gonna make it.
I brought you
It was
something.
rough, but
She says, I didn't think we'd need this right away. I got to be honest. She reaches back in her pack. She pulls out a bottle, puts it down next to you. I didn't think we'd need this right away. I was keeping it as Brixton enticement, but I think you could probably use this to cheer up. Pats you on the back a little bit. She goes, I talked to the guys. I don't think they're holding it against you too much.
I don't think so.
No, you're fortunate, she goes.
I think we understand.
They're both warriors, and they understand that you take a risk when you get into this life. I'm more worried about Sunny. She looks over there. She's sitting there. She's eating real quiet with her sister.
Maybe we should give them some brandy too.
That's up to you, she says. I just want to come over here and tell you what I think.
Contributing to the delinquency of a 100-year-old minor.
She goes, you just might want to be careful with them. Nods. Stands up, walks away.
Did she just leave me the bottle?
Yep. Stand up, walks away. Goes over to
Okay.
where Agrias is. Sits over on the other side of Agrias. Agrias, after the dinner is breakfast is done, it's probably about maybe you figure, or I should say, your first meal is done. It's probably about noon. Are you going to let Alin go and gather some nuts and berries, or are you going to push
I'll
forward?
go, if she's gonna go out there, I'll go along with her to, as a guard type of thing.
Agrias,
Okay.
are you going to let her
Yeah,
do that?
expeditiously?
Okay. They go ahead and they start collecting stuff at the side. Raymar?
Yeah, I have a question about the kit that Arion got for me.
Yeah,
I can use those tools on my guitar.
you can. You can do two things with it. Number one, if your guitar is damaged, you could repair it. Well, actually, three things. You could use it to tune it up, and or to modify it slightly, or you could actually use it because it's a full-on luthier's kit to make a new guitar
Ah, okay. Well, I'm just gonna
or other
start-
stringed instrument like a lute or something or mandolin.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a little tuning.
Okay, you start tuning up. Ariane, you and Elin are at the edge of the woods collecting stuff. While she's collecting stuff, you notice that this area there's a lot of foot traffic here.
What type of foot traffic?
Human-sized foot traffic that goes north and south.
Okay. Keeping to the woods or
Yeah,
crossing
Brixton.
out, or-
Brixton, will you have?
I'm gonna head out to the water for a little bit.
Okay, Brixton walks
I'm
over to the
I'm gonna
water.
tuck the bottle of brandy in my
Mhm.
my pouch.
Tuck the pile of brandy in the pouch. Everybody that is at the water at that point in time sees Aurora kind of rear up through the water. Comes up kind of as close to the shore as she can get, and reaches out and kind of starts nuzzling the side of Brixton's face affectionately, real gently. Brixton, you can tell that because she's a familiar, you have kind of a marriage of the souls a little bit, and she can tell you're very upset, and she's trying to comfort you.
Does she? Can I tell her that I've named her?
Yeah, you can tell her.
Okay.
You feel back through the connection that you have. That is a good name. I like it. I can tell through your memories what it means, and I have seen them before. One day I can take you there.
Cool. Cool.
What would you like me to do today? Should I swim alongside of your land vehicles?
Yeah, and I'll come out to the ocean as often as I can.
I will
as
wait
often
you.
as allowed.
I await you.
Can I go for a rip?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys all watch Brixton get on top of the hippocampus and start ripping around through the water. Brixton, I need you to make me a 20, please.
Uh-oh.
Alan, you're dead.
16.
You are eligible at this point in time for the writing special mount skill or the non-weapon proficiency if you have not maxed out all your proficiencies at this point.
I don't have any.
Okay, so you'll have to wait a couple levels to get it, but your practicing is actually paying off. You're also eligible for the swimming at this point too.
Gotcha.
Okay, so meanwhile, back to Agrias and Rainmar. Arion and Elin come back. Elin comes back with a basket full of berries, some nuts, some roots. It's not going to be enough to. It might be enough for a very, very light trail meal for the whole group. But you guys would have to hunt to get a full meal at this point. Agrias, you got to push the group on?
Yeah, it's time to go.
Okay.
All right.
Still same marching order?
Sure.
Same marching order.
Brixton, you have not been with the group in some time. Here's the group order: Arion and Nelson, who is the boon companion, the driver that took Rainmar here. They are at the front in the wedding carriage. The rest of the carriages follow in a trail behind them. Agrias and is in the next one. Rainmar continues to bounce back and forth between the group. Herrick is in the rear one. Which one would you like to be in?
And I'm with Sunny and Lily, right?
Yes.
Put him in with Tobias.
Can the three of us hang out with Agrias?
Yes, you can. Agrias, you notice that Lily is where before she would ask you questions and things, she's absolutely silent now, as is Sunny. Neither one of them are saying a damn thing.
Wow, Sunny's quiet. Okay.
Even Sunny's quiet.
I give them the Knots for Beginners book to work on while we go.
Sunny looks over at her sister. She goes, I read it last night. I can show you a couple things. And they are working on knots together. Elaine just kind of looks down at him, looks over at Brixton, kind of looks over at you, Agrias, kind of makes a little face like, these girls are traumatized. So the group continues to go down in the carriages, and probably about maybe by your guess, it's a pretty uneventful ride. But Arion, by about maybe 5 o'clock in the evening, night is starting to settle in. But ahead of you, you can see a large forest. You can see that the trail ends. It descends downwards towards this forest. A couple miles ahead, it looks like it ends, and you see what looks like a small camp.
Okay.
Are you going to relay that information to Agrias?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, at the same time, this is next to the ocean as well?
Yes, it is.
Can I see a ship out there?
You do see a sailing ship there. It's moored at the edge of the...
I recognize that
Yep.
ship then?
Yep, you can tell right away. Nereid
Okay.
Shaw.
I relay all that message to them then.
Okay. Agrias, you've learned that. You think that your group should be able to easily make it before nightfall.
Okay.
I still keep a good watch with arrow knocked.
Press forward.
I would say so.
Arion, make me a 20 roll, please, as well as Agrias.
15.
Raymar, actually you as well.
17.
Okay. As you guys go forward, the first thing you notice, Arion, because you've been watching the woods, and Agrias has been sort of watching the woods as well, because you guys know about the foot traffic. The foot traffic ended probably about 3 miles ago, and when it ended, you noticed trail markers on the trees at the edge of the forest. They are not human trail markers. They are warnings in Orcish.
What do you mean by trail markers?
They are markings on the trees to warn away people, and they are Orcish.
Okay.
All three of you guys noticed that.
All right. I also relay that to others.
Mm-hmm.
I knock a few of my one of my wicked barbed arrows, and
Okay.
I crouch down prone on the
Right.
semi-prone on the top of the carriage.
Okay. You semi-prone on the carriage. You're waiting, but eventually nothing really ends up happening.
I'm okay with that.
You end up going towards the thing, the encampment. Arion, from behind you, you hear the wolf. Rainmar, your wolf howls. And Arion, you hear, I'm about to do it. I'm about to surprise him.
Oh no.
You guys are all you're sitting there. You see the some temporary shelter is being made, a bunch of tents and things like that. One of them's almost like a pavilion style tent. Agrias, you're paying attention to the road. Elin's paying attention to the road. Brixton, everybody's focused on the road ahead. Rainmar, you feel a paw at your side.
Okay, I turn and ask her what she wants.
She looks up at you with her bright green eyes and goes, "Orcs."
That's a problem.
And smiles. Big, broad smile. And howls again. She says, howling, David, you hear, or Aaron, she says, I did it. I said a human word.
What did you say?
I said orcs. They keep it's something they keep saying, and so I learned it.
Kill the dog.
I've been practicing that word while he's been sleeping.
Now did you? I'm trying to concentrate on guard and scouting or observing. I'm like, did you just say that because it's a word you heard? Because they are here.
I smell something in the woods.
Okay.
I thought Master would like warnings when I smell orcs.
Okay. I turned to. I can talk. Can I talk to Rainmar?
Yeah, you can. Raymar's in just the carriage right behind you.
Oh, okay.
He's looking around in the woods with his barbed arrows. He's pointing around, waiting for something.
I get up and sort of walk more toward.
Nelson says, "I'll drive the caravan. Just go do what you got to do."
Okay. I go up to Rainmar and says, apparently she spoke a word, orcs, to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
If she said she smelled something in the woods, but I don't know if she knows if it's orcs or something else, or just wants to impress you with that word.
Well, I think she.
But something is out there apparently.
Well,
good or bad, I don't know.
Let's let everybody know. I'm going to keep this arrow knocked and keep searching through the trees here.
Okay.
All right.
The word spreads out through the whole caravan. All of the laborers hunker down inside of their caravans. Herrick kind of looks up towards the front of the group. He says, because I haven't seen much of anything. He says the bandit trail you guys told me about seemed like it ended a couple miles up the way. I thought we were out of the woods pretty much, so to speak. But I don't know. I don't see anything. Lynn shrugs her shoulders, says, I don't see anything either.
I'm not putting anything, might not see everything, but we've got a wolf nose here that says that she smells something.
I could take Master out there. I could show him.
She could probably smell orcs from a long way out, too. They may not be close enough to bother us.
Plus, she also may not know exactly what an orc smells like either.
Lynn looks over at Agrias. What do you say, boss?
Arion, ask her if she... I wonder if she'd be able to tell how far away they are. Ask her if she can tell us how far away they are, the smell.
I relay that to her, see if she can tell.
She says, she looks over at Raymar, goes, or, and then she looks back at, as kind of smiles again, then howls up in the sky. She says, looks over at Arion and says, farther than I can run. Farther than I can run.
Farther than she can run.
Okay, well, let's go then.
Keep going.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask.
I'm still on alert, but
she is looking up at Rainmar expectantly.
Yeah, I give her like a dried meat treat kind of thing. She
starts eating it. She goes, I think he liked it. I think that means he must like it. He gives me food when I do good things because I'm a good girl and I get a lot of food.
I ask Elin to take the reins for the carriage I'm in.
Got it. She takes the reins.
Can I go through the things right now? Now that I'm sitting in there with Brixton and the twins.
You sure
The
can.
stuff I took off the dead elf that challenged me.
You sure can.
Okay. I'm gonna ask Brixton to come over to me in the wagon.
Sonny and Lily look at you, kind of afraid a bit for a second.
Challenge accepted.
Expectantly, Brixton shits his pants.
Brixton, you gonna go?
I mean,
Should
we're all
we
in
go
carriage,
too?
right? No, you guys stay.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
need you to. I hand him the 2 scrolls, the sword, and the coin purse to see if there's any traps on them.
Are you going to check them, Brixton?
Yeah.
I need you to roll me 4 sets of percentage dice.
All right. Okay.
I can roll them for you.
85,
Okay, that's a miss. Go ahead.
54,
Miss. Go ahead.
37,
Okay. And
92.
okay, so here's the situation with these things. Nothing on them speaks to you of a mechanical trap. All right, nothing speaks to you of poison or anything odd like that. However, the possibility does exist that they could be cursed magical items, and that you would not know right away. You don't have the kind of magic, unfortunately, to suss that out.
You can't tell.
Okay. Would identify work?
Identify would work, but you haven't memorized it today.
No, I know I haven't.
And also, you may want to read up on exactly what the cost of casting Identify is before you think about casting it.
Okay.
Okay.
So they all could possibly be cursed, or just the.
They all could possibly be cursed,
Okay.
but to the best of his knowledge, they are untrapped.
So you could open the coin first.
Okay, I call Sonny and Lily over.
Okay. Lily and Sonny come down. Lily and Sonny look terrified. Are we in
I'm
trouble?
going to ask each of them to open up a scroll case.
Okay. Brixton, it is occurring to you that Agrias is using your apprentices as human trap, as gnomish trap detectors. Are you going to be all right with that?
Well, I mean, I was doing the same thing too. So...
Right, I know, but that's you. Are you going to let them do it?
They're out to learn, buddy.
I tell them to hold on. I was like, is this really happening? Are you really doing this?
I am really doing this.
They need to.
You'll have to answer to their aunt.
That's fine.
What, do you think it's dangerous?
No, they're just scroll cases.
Then why did you say that?
Maybe you should.
Lily says, Sonny, Agrias taught me was going to teach me how to use a sword, and he's really been nice to me, so I don't think he'd let us get hurt. Well,
There
okay.
they go thinking again.
Okay. But she looks over at her sister. She says, well, son, Lily, you just can't trust everything, though. Right away, that strikes you as way different for her. She opens up the first scroll case. Looks at it. It's you. She looks over at you, Agrias. She turns it around. You see a picture of your face drawn on it. And in Elvish underneath, it says wanted. 15,000 gold from the Monastery of the Tenebrous Hand. Wanted for murder, wanted for blasphemy, wanted for crimes against the faith.
You're famous.
Time to start your own order.
I guess.
All right.
Okay. I say thank you and ask her to roll it back up and put it in the case.
Okay, she does. Puts it back in case. Lily opens up hers.
Boom.
She looks at it. She goes,
Uh-oh.
I think it's a spell. I can't really read it. She
Oh,
shows
don't
you
read.
Agrias. Are you gonna read it?
Silently, yeah.
Yeah, in Elvish, it is a spell. It looks like the function of the spell is to
Kill anyone that reads it.
to create an electrical charge within your body that when you reach out and touch something, it discharges to what you touch. To you, it's been written in the kind of a script that someone who knew the mystery of the tenebrous hand would be able to deliver it through their weapon.
Oh, God.
And now, all right. I ask Sunny to roll it back up.
She does. It's clear to you, Agrias, that the person that came after you was not after you to challenge you for position, but it was a bounty hunt.
Mhm.
And they were probably going to try and kill you with this.
Oh, this is a sword that. Okay, never
Mhm.
mind.
Yeah.
So, you have the sword now and you have the coin purse.
I'll open the coin purse.
I'm gonna let Lily open the coin purse.
Lily opens the coin purse. She looks inside. She says there's a couple coins in here, but there's like some kind of piece of jewelry in here. Do you want me to show it to you?
Sure, just roll it out on the floor.
She rolls it out on the floor. 26 gold pieces fall out of it and a brooch. The brooch has the picture of a young elvish woman in it. She has the garb of the tenebrous hand on her. She's definitely a member of your order. You see her, and it looks like somebody that you... Make me a 20-sider.
18.
It's somebody you've studied with. You remember this face. Because she's very pretty. She's got a very unforgettable face. For an elf, she's very unusual in that she's got dark hair. It's about waist-length dark hair. And you remember that very vividly. What you don't remember is you don't remember her name. It's like you think you've studied with her, but you've never spoken to her.
Okay.
Maybe she was in a different class at the monastery. Maybe, something different than that. But it's a picture of that person.
Okay, I take the brooch
Mhm.
and then give how much gold was it?
26.
I split that in half and give each half to the twins.
Oh wow, that's really generous, Mr. Agrias. Thank you.
That's
much?
nicer than I was.
Yeah, way nicer than you were. The sword is really pretty. It looks like yours, she says, looking at yours on your hip.
Do you notice any differences? Anything that stands out?
Well, I'm not exactly a dwarf, she says, looking at it, but it's lighter than yours. Agrias, one of the things that your order does is each one of you, part of your training, you make your own weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different than everyone else's, but it also is tailored exactly to your style.
Okay.
So it doesn't surprise you that it's lighter because the elf was smaller than you, that you fought. She's holding it and looking at it. Yeah, but there's something on it. She looks at the edge of it. Look right here, the color is different right here on the edge.
It's poisoned, maybe.
Yeah, it's dried. It was once wet, but it's
Yeah.
dried.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
Don't touch it.
okay.
Can I look at it?
Yeah, Brixton, you want to look at it?
Go ahead.
Percentage dice, buddy.
Do you want? I'm missing one of my D10s.
That's
You just
okay. Roll
want-
your d10 twice.
Okay, I got a 49.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely poison. It was actually. It looks to you like you're actually familiar with it. It looks like it was from the Nightshade family. You know that because of living underground. It would have probably been pretty fatal. It was worse than the stuff you got stuck with for sure.
Yeah. I'm a poison expert now.
Yes. Arion, meanwhile, up at the top of the carriage, I'm sure you probably walked back to the front with Nelson. As you get closer, you see a fire, a central bonfire that these.
What's that?
I'm sorry, Arion?
I was saying I also checking on Sleeping Beauty too.
Okay.
On the way
Sleeping
back.
Beauty is awake right now and he has bitten the walls of this thing and the door multiple times trying to figure out ways to get out of this thing. But he looks like he gave up. He's awake, but he's not really too aggressive yet. He's still a little bit pliable. But anyway, going
Okay.
towards I'm sorry, go ahead.
If I can still talk to him, I said I'll just sit tight for now, whatever.
You gonna let me out of here?
While you were the bad boys, you're going to be staying here for a little bit anyway.
What are you, my mom? I thought we were friends.
We are, but I'm trying to train you.
Friends
to be
don't lock
good.
friends inside of vehicles with wheels on them.
Well,
If you were really my friend, you'd let me sit up there next to you and look at the moon together.
Maybe later,
Why not now?
because we're busy right now.
Yeah, you're going to be busy letting me out of here, and we're going to go up to the front, and we're going to look at the moon together.
If you're gonna come out, you're gonna be.
Hold on
we're
for a
gonna
second.
be over 20.
I smell. You have berries?
Do I have berries on me?
No, but you picked some with Lynn.
Oh, I helped fix some with Lynn.
Oh, you don't have any with you?
No.
What good are
Tell
you?
me to give the dog berries.
He looks at you. He says, "I thought we were friends. Aren't you going to bring me any food?
You had enough food for everybody already.
You're going to let me starve in here. Is that what you're trying to do?
not
You're
gonna-
trying to let me starve. I give you my
Nope.
friendship. I fight for you, and you're going to make me starve in here.
You're gonna learn a little bit of restraint.
Okay, I promise not to eat anything else. Ever again. I'll just sit here and die.
You're being a petulant little kid.
This is a very emotional Wolverine.
What does that mean? Petulant. Is that like a petunia? I ate a bunch of those before.
Sticky
They weren't very
sweet.
good.
No, they aren't.
Hey, what's going on in the other caravan ahead of us? I keep smelling that wolf cub.
Okay, you can't eat him or her.
Oh, well, I thought maybe later
No,
when it's sleeping.
you're not gonna eat the wolf cub.
That might be a little above your.
Why not? It's little, okay? Listen, you're a woodsman. You know how this is. Big animals eat little animals. It's
Not
nature.
that one.
I'm hungry. I want it. Tough. Okay, well, when you get attacked by orcs out there and I'm locked in here and I can't help you, you just remember that.
Hey, if we're
I'm gonna
attack
musk all
the
over
orcs,
this wood too.
You can eat all the orcs you want when they're attacking.
I'm gonna musk all over this wood too, just so you know.
You do that, I may have to disown you completely.
You wouldn't dare. We've been together
No.
too long. We're a great team.
A great team and one that's just a little, I'm just shaking my head.
Hey, do me a favor. Put your hand up.
Put my hand up.
Yeah. It sits up. See? I've been paying attention. You think
Good.
I'm whatever. I'm petunias, but I actually listen to what you say. I think that
hope so.
deserves a treat, don't you?
And a little bit of jerky.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, go ahead. Go away. He starts eating
Okay.
it. I still might musk all over this though. Arion, you're arguing with him upstairs. Agrias, you've got the sword in your hand. Raymar's down there with you, as is Brixton and the girls. What are you going to do? The caravan is starting to slow down.
Can I clean the blade at all?
Yeah,
Like
it's easy to clean. It's easy to clean.
Get the poison off it and everything.
Are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Rainmar, looking at this blade, I need you to make me a percentage dice check.
87. Yeah. 87.
Okay. One of the things about Rainmar that maybe the rest of the group doesn't know is he's pretty well read. He's studying up a lot on different things, on pieces of history. It looks to you, this blade was not made in Radek. Radek steel is a little bit bluer than this. Just a little tidbit you've picked up along the way.
I share that with Agrias, that I think that his opponent's blade was made outside of Radek.
Agrias, that might strike you as weird because you thought that you were the only monastery of the Tenebrous Hand was where you are in Radek. So, anyway, Brixton, you've been standing here watching this whole thing. Lily and Sunny are over there, and Lily kind of is looking at you. She goes, I learned another knot. I can show you later if you want. Me and Sunny have been practicing all day like you told us to, and we wondered when our test is going to be.
Your test?
And I don't want you to be mad, but Agrias said he was going to teach me how to swing a sword. Maybe he could teach me things too. Would that make you mad?
Just be careful with him.
Well, yeah,
You don't feel too capable.
sometimes he's really quiet, and I think he's going to say something really mean, but he doesn't. And sometimes I think he's okay, and then he says something really mean. I don't know. He's hard to predict.
He is. But yeah, just be careful.
I'll try, but
Make sure you stay
I kind of want to learn how to swing a sword so I can protect you and Sunny, because this is really dangerous, and I think he's really, really strong and smart and fast, and I just think that maybe I could be like that too, and I could help you.
Can I show her the sword that I have?
Yeah.
I was like, I found a sword.
Wow, that one's really pretty too. Now, by the way, you guys are all in the same caravan.
Yeah, I know.
Agrias, this is an elvish sword, okay? And by the way, you two are half elf and full elf, okay? You're hearing this conversation perfectly fine. She's trying to be quiet and whisper to Brixton. It ain't working. She can hear, you guys can just hear her totally fine.
Of course.
Agrias, this sword is elvish make, for sure. Rainmar, it is made in Radek. Rainmar, this sword has markings on it that it's very old. It's been used a lot. It's not a new blade by any stretch of the imagination. Wow, it's really pretty. I like the way it curves here.
Yeah, be very careful.
I'm not going to touch it yet. Agrias said don't touch any swords until he teaches me how to do something with it.
Do I recognize the design of the sword in any way? The fittings or the blade?
Yeah, make me a 20-sided roll. Brixton, she goes, I think I'm going to try and impress Brixton by doing everything like I tried to impress you. Remember when you took me as your apprentice, you thought it was okay because I listened to every single thing you said? Well, I'm going to do the same with Agrias, I think. And maybe I can impress him too.
That would be wise.
Okay.
But
Sunny is just listening to this whole thing like, well, remember what he said, Lily. Be careful around him.
Yeah. Be careful when he asks you to open things.
14.
Well, that's why I did it. I mean, he said to do it, so I did it. Okay, 14, you look at it, the markings on it. It belongs to a military unit of some kind. It is kind of written on the inside of it, where it would be very inconspicuous along the handguard. It says 3rd Infantry on it.
Okay, I'll convey that to the group.
Okay, Brixton, he tells you that. It was a very old sword, looks like it belonged to a military unit.
Cool.
So looted by orcs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I put it
And-
away.
Okay, you put it away.
I immediately take it from Brixton and stab him through the chest with it.
He rolled a 20, by the way.
Oh yeah, and I rolled a 20. Yeah.
David, you're up at the top of the caravan. The big pavilion tent is in sight. There's a lot of people milling around this kind of impromptu village that everybody's been making. People are trying to erect more shelters and things like that. You think you see 4 or 5 people coming towards you from this group. You're almost there. You're probably about 500 yards away from it.
Do I recognize them by carriage at all or no?
No, it's not them carriage. They're coming by foot.
No, as their carriage.
Oh,
Is it
no.
how they're
Oh,
walking
well,
up and they
make me a
build
20-sider. Make me a 20-sider.
and- 12.
One of them is Captain Detandras, the captain
Okay.
of the boat that you saw before.
Okay.
You can tell because of her big hoop skirt that she's got in her parasol.
Okay.
Rainmar.
I send her forward.
Okay, you send the wolf forward. David, you're kind of watching the thing, and all of a sudden, from the side of the carriage, you see the wolf cub start running top speed past the carriage.
Okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, Agrias, you feel like I said, you feel the caravan starting to slow. The train starting to slope downwards. Is there anything you'd like to order the group to do?
It's our people.
Just be aware that there's people approaching.
Brixton, you're in there with your apprentices. Anything you want to do?
I'll I'll just keep an eye out. Be on ready. Be on guard.
Fuck on the
Look-
brandy.
Lily's got a bit of rope in her hand, and she's like trying to tie a knot. You can tell. Your group is going forward. David or Arion, you can see the group that was coming towards you kind of stop. The wolf is running towards them.
I yell at what? I yell at, or tell the wolf, just don't run up at him. Just halt for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think they don't know the wolf.
No, they
That's
don't.
one-
They don't. You hear as it runs away into the distance, it says, "Sorry, master's orders." He just keeps running.
Okay, I'm gonna jump down from the caravan and try to
Okay.
run after, just basically to be a mediary just in case.
Yeah, you
don't
get
want
off
anything to happen.
up off of there, and Nelson takes the reins. You're walking up to the group. You see the 3 of them. It is the colonel and Shauna, Everin, and the captain, Detardress, is there. The wolf cub runs up to him, gets about 25 feet from him, howls into the air, and then looks at him with its burning green eyes out of the darkness and goes, "Orcs."
Oh God.
Dude,
With a big contented smile on its face. You should see the looks on the 3 of their faces when it does it. All the color just drains out of their face.
I tell them, like,
In unison.
she learned a new trick.
Who? Oh, so the wolf's with you.
Yes.
Oh. Oh. I'm a good girl,
That's
she
why-
says, looking over at you. Uh-huh. Go ahead, Raymar.
I wave her back.
Okay. The wolf turns around and starts running back. Arion, the Shauna, or the colonel walks up to you, offers you his hand. It's good to see
Take
you.
it.
He says, it looks like you've, he looks at the wedding carriage. He goes, it looks like you've actually grown on your trip. He goes, that doesn't often
Well-
happen on a voyage.
Well, this is a long story, but the wolf cub was the one. If you remember Rainmar,
Oh, it looked smaller.
yeah, he got the wolf cub from the armorer back at Caverick's Cove,
Oh, I see. I
and you
see.
didn't. I don't. When we left, I don't think you had met the cub or anything like that.
Shauna looks
But
at you and says, "What kind of wolf cub can say the word orcs?"
that's the long story. The short story of it is a warg cub that he is training.
Some looks between the three of them. Shauna, or the captain just kind of swings her parasol around once. She goes, "I've got to meet this Rainmar character." Meanwhile, the caravan stops. You guys are gonna. I imagine you guys would get out.
All right.
Okay. You
Yeah,
guys
I'm
are
heading
in this
down there.
impromptu village. Okay, there's these tents have been erected all over. There's a around kind of a central bonfire that's there, and there's a large between the bonfire and the shore. There is a very large pavilion style tent there. It looks like you could probably hold 12, 13 people easy in there. Uh, Moored over at the rocks just further out is the great sailing vessel that they had. It looks like they've tried to build an impromptu pier to it. It doesn't look like it's really all that great. Uh, Looks pretty rickety, in fact. But you guys are now outside of the caravan. You see the three of them standing there. Shauna, uh, Donovan, the colonel, and the captain are there. Colonel greets you as soon as you get out of the caravan. Agrias, it's good to see you. Reaches out his hand. You made it.
Well, not-
He looks over at you. He goes, Shauna, he looks over at his daughter. He goes, go back to the pavilion and get them their money. She nods. She goes, I'll be right back with your pay for you and your crew.
Appreciate
I
it.
I I raised my hand and stopped her for a sec.
She stops.
I I think we need to. This is just my interjection. I think that both Merrick and Einar should get the other two's wages what they had earned up until the time they died.
Of
Herrick
course.
kind of looks over at you guys, kind of puts his crossbow over his shoulder. He goes, let me give you a piece of advice. He goes, it's an old mercenary saying. Corpses don't get paid. He goes, I think that goes forever. He goes, I think that should be distributed through everybody, don't you, Agrias? He goes, after all, he goes, don't we, shouldn't we get a little extra something for surviving?
Who says this? Herrick or
Herrick.
Merrick?
Herrick looks at you. Yeah, he says that. He goes, corpses don't get paid.
No, but fallen friends do. So their family members will get the money.
Fair enough. Whatever you say, boss.
Understood.
The rest
Fair
of everybody starts pouring out of all the caravans. Brixton, you were going to do something?
Yeah, I'm gonna tap Herrick on his opposite shoulder as I walk by the other way.
Okay.
He elbows Brixton right.
He looks over and he kind of turns around because you're so short. He takes him a full turn to go around. Kind of rolls his eyes. You hear all the laborers mumbling, "Oh, it wasn't too bad of a trip. I didn't think so. Oh man, my back hurts. I didn't sleep for crap all the way there." You hear a lot of different conversations.
Sure.
The guy that was talking to you, Rainmar, kind of comes up to the front of the group, looks over you, and goes, I'm kind of the representative for the laborers. I'm Kelvin. He looks over at Agrias. Looks over, shake your hand. Goes, what do you want our guys to do?
Oh, is he talking to me?
Yeah.
Set up camp.
Got it. Should we start building shelters, or do you want us to how you want to? Do you just want us to do this temporary, permanent? He looks at you.
I'm confused.
Do we even know?
I'm confused. Are we delivering the laborers to the ship?
No, you're delivering them to this spot. Remember, they were going to build a temporary headquarters, and they were going to help build something for the for Prokanzai.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Let's set up something temporary.
All right, I'll tell the guys.
All right.
Turns around.
Appreciate it.
Shanna comes back. She comes back with a very a small wooden chest in her hands. She goes, "I believe this is for you." She hands it to Agrias. She goes, "You can count it. It's all there." She goes, "I chose to pay in silver because that seems to be the denomination of the land." And also, she looks over at their guys. She goes, "It's easier split." So, but if you'd prefer, she goes, "I could also pay you in gold or gemstones."
Silver is fine.
She nods. She looks over at the at your group as everybody's getting out of the thing. She goes, "I see that you're a bit shorter-handed as far as your mercenaries go."
Yes,
She
we are.
nods. She goes, "I'm sorry to hear that."
We're warriors. It happens.
She nods. I need to have a talk with you and whoever is your. Do you have a tactical commander for your group?
I do.
She says, "I need to speak to you, Agrias, and him separately."
Okay. I wave Rangmar over.
Rainmar starts going with you. She starts walking. She says, "I don't mean to be rude to the rest of you, but I need to speak to your foreman." She leads you away, Agrias and Raymar. "We have a bit of a problem."
Okay.
She says, "I don't know if you saw my reaction when the wolf spoke. I don't know how that happened, but when the wolf spoke, but there's orcish activity nearby, and worse. Our scouts say that there might be gnolls nearby, and maybe an ogre or two.
Okay.
So they know where we are, I think. So I don't know if we're going to have to defend this place or not, but I thought you should know that."
Well, if we're gonna have the laborers build a temporary camp, we should at least fortify it as best as we can.
I agree with that. The reason I say this is because I'm not a woman of war. Neither is my father. Is retired. He's not really. He's more of he's more of a marine man anyway. Your decisions that you make on fortifying the camp I'm going to leave them to you. You're warriors, as you said. You know how to best defend this area. So I wanted to tell you and your tactical commander. She looks over at Rainmar. Best way, maybe you can give some instructions, some preliminary instructions on what we should do.
Yeah, that's fine. I was under the impression I'm gonna have to out of character this for a second, but I was under the impression that the mission was only to deliver this stuff.
That was the preliminary mission. But
we don't have an agreement for the second part of the mission.
Not yet, no. But you did say that you were in on the full mission. There was no agreement about how it would go down, though.
Got it.
Right.
Okay, that's where I just making sure I'm
Right.
still on the same
No,
page.
you got it 100%. There has just been no agreement, and because you're a mercenary and she's not, that's the first thing that came to your mind, and it wasn't the first thing that came to her mind.
Right. Okay, got it. So we have fulfilled step 1 of the mission.
She nods.
When we spoke last about monies for this, and now we've been compensated.
Oh! You can see the realization cross her eyes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to presume anything. Let's make it.
I think it's safe to say that we'll be here at least for the night.
She nods.
But if we're going to talk money, then as we did before, I want to discuss pay for
terms, of course. Terms.
Crew.
Would you like the rest of your group here then?
No, I think we can probably do it the same way we did last time.
She nods. All right. Oh, so the same pay?
No, the same negotiations.
I see. She looks over at you and at Agrias. She says, "Well," she says, "your pay to come down here was 7 silver a day. Plus, I doubled that for your hazard pay. And for each of you, I doubled that again to command the mission. So in truth, each of you were making 20 silver a day, she says. This is going to be more dangerous. I recognize that. I'm going to ask for your tactical expertise. I realize that. What do you feel is fair?
How many people do you need for the second part of this mission?
As many of you as we can get.
Will you need laborers the second time after this camp is established?
She sighs a bit. She says, my father, myself, and I don't know if you remember Calissa, our specialist. We have decided that the way that we're going to handle this is a bit unorthodox. She looks around, making sure that you're alone. She says, listen, my father's plan at this point with Calissa's agreement is we are going to sail out several miles from the shore, and we're going to try and erect a great raft there from which we can conduct undersea operations using
Okay.
the magical item device that we have that I alluded to earlier. To do that, we would need to take the laborers out there. They would have to help build the raft, the whatever kind of creation they think is appropriate from which we could base ourselves there. So we would have two bases, one inland that we could retreat to going back and forth, and one out actually in the sea that we would reach via the Nereid Shawl. So, with that said, yes, we would need the laborers for that entire operation. We would need you for that entire operation to not only defend this area, but possibly to defend the raft if we feel that it might be under imminent danger.
Okay.
What do you think? And please, be candid with me, be frank with me. If you feel this is if this is too much,
How many silver in a gold piece?
20. You are making 1 gold a day.
I mean, it's looted more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And now it occurs to you what peanuts you guys were really working for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Price has to go up.
yeah, I would ask for the same amount per day, but in gold instead of silver.
She nods. 20 gold a day for you and each of your friends.
Yeah, and you can continue to pay the laborers whatever we've agreed on thus far.
She nods. Would that just be yourself, you two, and your other 2 immediate friends, or also the ones that you've collected with you, the other warriors?
I didn't even get that far because I was just thinking about us. People like Herrick and Lynn and those folks. Yeah, anybody who's not a laborer.
Okay.
Yeah, they've all played equal
She
parts.
nods. That is quite a price. But
And actually, I'm not convinced that those people are worth the same amount as we are. So this half for our immediate circle, what I asked for the people that we've added, half of that.
I'll have to ask my father to ensure that our coffers are so deep. But at least for the next week, we have an agreement.
Excellent. We'll begin to set up and fortify the camp.
How would you like to be paid before we finalize the deal? Silver, gold, gemstones? What is the appropriate coinage?
Ideally, we'd like to have the largest denomination and working downward to the smallest denomination.
I see. The reason I ask you this is because there are many settlements that you'll visit that may have never in their life seen a platinum piece.
I understand.
So I think that gold would be most appropriate, even though we could possibly pay your salaries in platinum. I think that gold is universally the largest denomination, and I'm well prepared to pay you in gold.
Okay.
She looks at you and says, "In the meantime, we should make a plan of action on how we intend on defending ourselves.
Yeah, we're gonna start fortifying the camp immediately.
Should we have scouts?"
Yes, we should.
She says, "All right. Should we make special arrangements for your animals?
No.
You should know that we were followed on our way down here by boat. The captain says that there was a hippocampus that followed us down."
That is with us.
"Oh, I see. Well, then there's no issue."
No.
She nods. "Well, then tell your friends that they have an agreement. Tell the laborers they have an agreement. I will ask my father how much further that we can extend the agreement past a week. But I would expect, knowing him, he will say that you can have this agreement as long as you're prepared to work for us."
Understood.
I'm going to count the silver that we were paid with.
It's gonna have to count it.
Mhm. Okay.
And my out of character question is: are we paying the laborers out of the silver that we just got?
She has given you enough to pay yourself and the laborers. She's expecting you guys to disperse the funds.
Got it. That's why I wanted to. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
she basically what this is you guys have all subcontracted from her.
Got it. Okay.
So what she is also going to say is this. She looks at you. The last thing I would say is that you have a mage among you, I understand, yes?
Yeah.
I would suggest that he speak to Calissa Entrati, our specialist. She's also a wizard. Perhaps they may find a common ground. And any of you that is interested in information of the region may wish to speak to her as to exactly what she intends to find and how she intends to find it.
Is your specialist an intelligent sort?
I'm sorry?
Your specialist, is she an intelligent sort of person?
Oh, yes. She's brilliant. She's perhaps the most singular genius I've ever met.
She may not want to speak to Brixton then. He's an idiot.
Oh, I see. Well, then perhaps she'd like to speak to you instead.
No, I'm not.
And by the way, she took that totally face value.
That is hilarious.
Oh, God.
Well, you guys are in charge. She figures, hey, you guys are running the show. You must know your people.
So
Fair enough.
so just to be clear, because I handled the money at the negotiations in the beginning, and because I handled the banking, I'm going to handle the payment of the laborers
Okay.
first. So I'm going to count it, handle the payment of the laborers, and then disperse the funds between the four of us.
Okay. So Raymar is going to leave and then start making the rounds to laborers.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Didn't they already meet Calissa already?
They met
when
Calissa,
I was
yes. But they haven't
they-
really spoken to her in depth.
Okay. 'Cause I think I remember.
Yeah, they did.
saying-
Everyone has met Calissa already, but no one's really had a chance to
I-
speak to her.
I don't think I have though.
Oh, you've seen her. You just haven't spoken to her.
Okay, because I know when they met her before, I was already at the
Yeah.
farmhouse.
Yeah, exactly. But you've seen her. You just haven't met her.
Okay.
Okay. So the group is Raymar is going to disburse funds. Agrias, is there anything else you'd like to say to Shara?
This wizard,
She nods.
is she capable of resurrecting?
Oh no, I think that's beyond her ability, she says. But she might know who could.
Okay, thank you.
So we'd have to collect a lot of body parts of
Brixton and Arion, you're standing there kind of just watching the workers labor, or maybe you're helping them unload the carriages of the wood and things like that. Rainmar comes walking up to your group. Rainmar, you've got the cash. How are you going to address them?
the laborers.
No, Brixton and Arion are with the laborers. Actually, the whole group is with them. They're kind of all stuck together while you and Agrias have made negotiations.
Yeah, I'm assuming when I counted, it was the right amount.
It is the right amount.
Okay, so I divvy up. I pay the laborers first, and I don't have the I'm not paying people out of the box.
Mhm.
I've already separated everybody's stuff, so I just hand deliver it to them.
Okay, you start giving up all the cash, and everybody seems very, very pleased by the money. Kelvin in particular tells you, he goes, "Hey, I'll make sure that these guys earn their keep."
How many laborers did we end up having at the end of all of it?
By the time you guys were done, you had 10.
Okay, so each of them receives a 1 silver bonus for good work done.
Okay.
I add that in there. I take that out of our stash and I give that to those guys.
Okay. Well, then
And then-
everybody's really pleased by that.
And
Kelvin
then the
would-
rest of the monies for our group is set aside. We're not going to do that in front of them.
Okay, Kelvin tells you right away. He goes, "Want you to know," he goes, "you speak their language." He goes, "You made some friends here. I'm sure they're gonna bust their asses for you."
That's what we hope. That's
He goes,
what we're
"I'll
hoping
make
for.
sure." He goes, "I'll make sure that they stay on task too." He goes, "There's a couple of them I'm a little worried about, but I'll make sure that I'm watching them.
Well, crack the whip if you have to.
If I have to." Smiles. He goes, "I'm a carpenter." He pulls out his hammer, looks at it. He goes, "But this just isn't for nails, you know." He smiles, walks away. The rest of the group is there. Lynn looks over at you, says, "So how did it go?"
Things went okay. Hold on. I paid the laborers. What was the agreement that we had with our mercenaries?
The mercenaries got half the money that you did, which means they'll
Yeah.
get 10 gold a day. But they got a
That's
full
coming
share.
up.
But they got a full share for 1 gold a day coming down here.
Okay, that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
know. Okay,
So that would be a total of 4 gold for all of them.
got it. So I divvy them up. It's in silver, but I give
Yeah.
them basically one.
Well, actually, for people like Herrick, he just looks at, he's got a handful of silver. He's like, "Oh, this is great." You know,
Right.
but Elin
Right.
doesn't look all that plussed or nonplussed by it. Merrick just kind of is looking at them all, counting them, obviously thinking about his sister. Einar, actually, he comes from a silver currency land as well. So he's very pleased with the fact that you went silver.
Now,
But everybody
as-
seems pleased.
Now, as agreed with as Agrias wanted to do, I give the fallen shares to their family.
Right.
the
Lily and
rest-
Sonny look up at you, Brixton, and say, "Are we getting paid too?"
Yeah, you guys just got 13 gold from Agrias.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's right.
So we don't have an agreement to pay those girls. I'm not giving them any money.
No.
And
Oh, that's
I'm
fair.
not. I mean, I'm not giving them any money.
You don't pay
And-
apprentices.
And then in
Corpses and apprentices don't get paid.
Yeah. And then I'm not going to pay our people in front of people that we've hired. It makes it look like
Right.
I'm not going to do that. So nobody in our group should expect me to give any money out from the.
Okay.
from the-
Well, you
yeah.
tell them they're going to get paid, and everybody just they saw the disbursement to the workers, so none of them doesn't take you at face value. They're all.
No, I'm just talking about Brixton, Ariana, and Agrias.
Oh, you're actually going to pay the mercenaries.
I'm going
yeah.
to pay the mercenaries.
They're
I'm just
all
not
happy
paying-
with that. They're all
Yeah.
excited by that.
All right.
Agrias, are you with this group, or are you going to stick around with Shauna?
No, I'm with the group.
Okay. So everybody's getting paid except for your inner circle. They're all starting to break out. Herrick looks over to Grice. He says, "Hey, listen." He goes, "I don't have any kind of background with this, but I had an idea." He goes, "I think a lot of these dudes are scared of me. So maybe you could, maybe I should be in charge of making sure that these guys, they work hard for you."
Who's saying this to me?
Herrick.
Eric.
Yeah. Unless you got something better for me, boss.
Well, I let Kelvin think he was leading the laborers, but you could put Herrick in direct charge of Kelvin.
No, I could always crack some heads if they decided they want to drink too much one night or, whatever.
Okay,
Don't
well,
crack my head.
don't listen to him. Kelvin's already in charge of the laborers, but I'll put you in direct charge of Kelvin.
Got
And
it.
I'm also going to have you assist Rangmar in being in charge of fortifying the settlement, which is going to apparently have to be more than temporary. So we need to get dug deep in.
Alin looks over at you. She says, more than temporary. Exactly what's going on here.
We can talk about this privately later.
Understood. Well, then she looks over at the rest of the crew. She says, my only concern is that there's orcs in those woods over there. Should we set up some kind of a watch or something?
Yeah, who wants to take the first watch?
Everybody's quiet. Merrick says, I will.
Okay, I'll take the first watch with Merrick.
He nods. He looks over at Arion. He says, our guy over here, weren't you a military scout at one point in time, he says?
Yes.
Rangers do work pretty well by themselves. Maybe he should stalk the woods for a little while and see what he can see. What do you think, Grice?
I'm glad we're on the same page.
He nods.
Without Tobias. He's too loud with his grunting.
He'd probably love to be out there.
As long as it doesn't make an issue for you.
Lynn just kind of leans back a little bit. She looks down at the wolf, looks out at the sea. Says, weather I think is going to hold up for the next couple days, but it's going to turn nasty soon. What do you think? These guys better get started working, and we got to decide what kind of fortifications we're going to have them build. We need a plan.
We need to set up a wall around the perimeter of the camp.
She nods. Palisade wall would be good.
Sharpen wall.
I have a
Sharpen
recommendation if I could. Never mind,
What's
I'll
that?
handle it. I'll handle it myself. I'm gonna plant some things around the outside of the wall. If it gets attacked, I can use the foliage with my spells.
Oh, that's helpful. Okay.
That's Alin talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
You see in the shadows walking up to your group, a female figure, red hair. She's got glasses on. She's kind of mousy looking, robes. She looks over at. She goes, "Excuse me. Which one of you is a Grias?"
That is me. What can I do for you?
She nods. She goes, "I'm Calissa Entrati. I'm the specialist working with Procan's Eye. I just wanted to introduce myself to those of you who hadn't met me. I understand that I'm supposed to speak to one of you."
Yeah, that's you, right? You want to speak to her?
Brixton, Beholder's Bane.
Oh, I thought I wasn't supposed to speak to him.
No, you are supposed to speak to him.
Oh, okay. Brixton, Beholder's Bane. Pleasure to meet you, Calissa Entrati. She kind of adjusts her glasses. Brixton, make me a 20-sider.
16.
Calissa has a wand at her side. She's got a dagger at her side. They both look extremely nice. She is accomplished. Just the look of her robes and the look of her wand that she has, she is a much more accomplished magi than maybe you've ever met.
Is she single?
She's not wearing any rings.
She's not wearing any rings.
I pickpocket her wand.
Are you going to?
No.
I was going to say, you haven't taken any levels of thief yet.
Dude.
I was thinking about it.
Brixton, what are you going to do?
How can I be of service?
Well, I just wanted to compare notes about what we're going to be doing and what we can expect down there, and I wanted to tell you how we're going to plan on getting underwater. As a fellow magi, she kind of nods. She says, I thought that you might be able to appreciate it, and some of the more technical aspects that might go over your friends' heads because they don't have any footing in the invisible art, you might understand and be able to relate to them.
You don't know what
I do understand. Do you want to have this conversation by the beach?
Of course. She says, will your apprentices be coming with you? She, by the way, you recognize the fact that she has no idea that they're your apprentices. But she knew somehow. She's never been introduced to them as that.
Yeah.
We're all gnomes.
Yeah, but you would think that she would think that they were his sisters or something, or
Yeah,
nieces.
opposed to.
Uh-huh.
Can I ask how she knew?
Oh, of course, she says, look at them. She looks over at Lily and Sunny at their at. She points out at the tabards that they're wearing. They have a trim that's been hand embroidered around the bottom. At some point in time, they have done the same embroidering around the bottom that you have on your outfit. They did that themselves.
Oh. Oh, cool. Okay. I
She
guess
goes.
I didn't notice.
She says, "I figured that you were teaching them in the ways of your order."
Yes.
She
The ways of my order.
Or just getting ready for a wedding and part of the family.
No. The order of the traveling circus.
Please follow me to the beach. I'll explain everything as I can.
Cool.
So she leads Brixton away. Agrias, you're there with the rest of the group. Brainmar's there with the rest of the group. Arion is there. Merrick looks okay. So I got first watch. Arion's going scouting. Herrick's like, "What do you want me to do, boss?" And Alin's standing there as well. Einar is there as well.
All right, so all the mercs are together right now.
Yep, everybody's together, waiting on orders from you.
Okay, so and we're private.
Yep.
Okay, the two of us are gonna tell them everything that we talked about with what's her name.
Everybody kind of nods. First person that says anything is Herrick. He goes, 10 gold a day is a good gig. That's a really good gig. Which one of you two negotiated that again? Looks at you, goes, mind me never to play cards with you, and I also owe you an ale. Points over at Rainmar.
You know what, Herrick? I'm also going to remind you to never pick a fight with me.
He nods. Fair enough. He goes, you're if he trusts you with our tactical stuff, he goes, then you're pretty much hell on wheels with the blade anyway, I imagine.
Well, he trusted me to hire you.
Well, that's true. He says, but keep in mind, he goes, he's the one who calls the shots. He goes, I won't fight you on my own, but if he were to tell me to put a couple crossbow bolts in you, got to do what you got to do.
That would be awful, because then I'd have to kill you both.
He smiles. He goes, when you're with the tenebrous hand, he goes, you take your chances.
Okay, so I explained that there's probably going to have to be two teams, one on the water and one on the land, because someone's going to have to protect the fort and the laborers.
Alin says, I think that's a good idea. I think that I would be best suited over towards the water. And I think Brixton with his familiar should be able to guard that very well too.
I agree. I already plan on sending Brixton on the water as soon as that gets.
Defender of the sea.
Listen, Aquaman, settle down over there. As far as the rest of us, where do you think we should go?
That I'm still deciding.
Einar looks around at these guys. He says, I would make a recommendation. When some of these individuals that we have here aren't working, perhaps we could teach them a bit of axe play or sword play, because there's only 7 of us, but if our numbers were to over double if they were to be useful as warriors and we were ever to be attacked, we wouldn't have to sit there and worry about defending them.
Agreed.
Maybe we could make them into a bit of a militia.
I agree, Einar. Would you be willing to be in charge of the teaching?
He nods. Merrick says, I'll join him.
Perfect.
Some of them may not want to use blunt weapons. He kind of pokes him on the side and looks at his mace and smiles. He just rolls his eyes at him. He says most of them are probably just as happy to hit someone with a plank of wood than they are with your axe. So the rest of them everyone sort of nods. Herrick, what do you want me to handle, boss?
Well, I'm going to take the first watch with Merrick. Arion's going on scout, so...
Yeah.
You want me with him?
How far out do you want me to go Just, out of the encampment area, how far out, range wise?
300 feet.
Okay. I'll go out there and I'll try, while
You
I can
taking
still
Tobias
talk-
with you?
Yes, and while I've still got tongues on me with him,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to teach him these.
Okay, you're starting to try to teach him hand signals.
Yes, I'm gonna try.
He
to
looks
teach
at
him
you
the
and he
same-
says, "Let me get this right. The guy that locked me in a carriage this whole time and only gave me one piece of jerky is now going to start giving me orders. Is that right?"
Yes,
Oh, okay.
because
Tell him you're hunting orcs.
He goes, "Listen, I'm sorry. I know I ate too much, but
okay, that's
you
all
shouldn't
I
have let
wanted
me
to
in
know.
there." He goes, "That's what I do. I'm a Wolverine."
Well, I know that, but I put you in there all by yourself because I knew you were going to be pretty much a dead weight for a while until you actually woke up and got digested a little.
Well, wasn't that smart of you? Maybe we'll find something else I can eat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The number 7, your favorite. Go
What-
at it and do what you want.
Oh. Well, if that's part of these signals, you better teach me 1 through 6 first.
All of that too. I'm going to go through that as much as I possibly
You sure
can.
I can't have that wolf pup? God, he
No, you
smells
can't
good.
have the wolf. You
Oh,
can't
it's a-
have the wolf
it's a girl.
pup, but if there's anything else out there outside of the camp, that
All right, all right.
you know,
Okay, so the rest of the group
Consider.
is dispersing. Arion goes off and goes scouting. The first watch takes place. Brixton is over at the beach. Lynn starts walking over to him. Agrias, that leaves you, Einar, and Merrick with Rainmar there in the middle, just kind of milling around. Is there anything you guys are going to want to do while the workers are working? Night is coming.
What's that, Judge?
I said night is falling, beginning to fall.
I want to go to the leadership and see if they have any food stocks since half of ours is gone.
Rainmar going with you?
Yeah.
Okay, Raymar and you go to the leadership group. That's the pavilion area, and Shauna and her father are sitting in there, and they're just kind of talking around a fire. That the smoke goes up through a central area at the top of the pavilion area. He looks at you. "Hello, Agrias." He goes, "Good to see you again." He goes, Have you made any decisions about how you're going to defend the camp? My daughter tells me that you've agreed to our proposal."
Yes.
Be
We
at
are
ease.
fortifying.
Be at ease. The money is there.
Understood. Thank you. We are fortifying right now, but there's a bit of a food shortage.
Oh, is there?
I was wondering if you had any.
Oh well, we haven't quite gotten all the crates off of the Nerid Shawl, but my expectation is that Captain Detardress brought plenty for the crew. So, I don't know the answer to that yet. We haven't really quite haven't gotten through with that, but perhaps she would be the right one to ask. Shauna, go fetch the captain for us, please. She nods and walks away. Looks over at you and smiles. He says, "I want you to know this is one of the most exciting days of my life." He kind of laughs. He says, "This is the culmination of a life's work, and it's all starting to come together finally at last. And you're a big part of that."
Glad to hear it.
So I'm sorry to hear about your friends. Shauna told me that a couple of them didn't make it on the journey. He goes, "Were you ambushed by bandits?"
Orcs, actually.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, they're like a pestilence in this area. He says, "But at least you have a dwarf with you." He says, "I'm sure that he's got if you'll pardon the pun, an axe to grind against them."
You have no idea.
He laughs a little bit. Pretty soon, Shauna comes back into the pavilion with Captain Detardress. She walks in. "I understand someone wants to have a word with me." Looks over right at you, Agrias.
Yes, I was wondering if I could snag a few crates of your food.
"Oh, of course, of course. I'll have some of the men take them out. How much do we need?" There's like 20 of you, maybe a week's worth.
That's a good start.
She nods. The colonel, I'll make sure you're compensated for it. She nods.
Make Wolverine proof.
She looks at you, Agrias. She says, looks at you a little bit, kind of askance. She kind of moves a little bit so she can get you in a little more better light. And she kind of chuckles to herself when she sees you. She
Is
says, I
something
see we have something in common.
And what's that?
There's a price on both of our heads, she says. I recognize the picture.
And how long have you known of the price on my head?
I couldn't be sure it was you when I first saw you over at Cadrick's Cove. She says, but that's been out there for, almost a month now.
I just found out today.
She says, well, how does it feel? Is it thrilling to be a wanted man?
I think I'm worth a little more than 15.
She laughs a bit. She says, usually what they do is they put the bounty based on how dangerous they expect you to be. So you should fight like hell because they really underestimate you. She says any man that should kill you, she says, should make it worth more to him than 15.
It's like you're after my heart.
She laughs a bit. She goes, I'm married to the sea, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean I don't have a few flings now and again. She swings her parasol around once or twice and she hits on the table. She goes, you should be careful, though. You never know who's going to come and try and collect that money.
Understood.
15 goes a long way in this region.
Out of curiosity, how much is your bounty?
She laughs a bit. She reaches over in her side. She's got a little haversack at her side, a little like messenger's bag. She pulls it out, a sheaf, and tosses it over to you.
I open it.
Captain Charissa de Tarndress, wanted in the nations of the Great Kingdom, the Bone March, Raddick, Stonehold, Frost Barbarian Lands, Ice Barbarian Lands, Snow Barbarian Lands, Theocracy of the Pale, and the greater nation of Nyrond. 100,000 gold orbs. The man that brings her head back to a guy named Prince Drax of Alyssa.
Wow, I'm really underestimated.
She smiles.
You're Agrias, I think you're peanuts.
Evidently.
We should ghost her right now.
Smiles.
I've never been so underestimated.
She takes it back. She goes, I think the art is a horrible likeness, but puts it back in her haversack.
But really, who could be expected to capture such a beauty?
You have a silver tongue, my friend. She smiles. Drax does. I rebuffed him at a affair of state several years ago, and when I was barely more than a child, and he's never forgotten the slight. It's part of why I became a sailor and a pirate. She says, I wanted to become strong enough that I could resist such a man.
I lean in charismatically and say, have you ever considered hiring someone to deal with Drax?
Make me a 20-sider.
Dude, really?
9.
She says, do you think... She leans forward, too. She says, do you think you're up to the job? Rainmar the Wildlight?
It would astonish you what me and my people here are capable of. I mean, he's the tenebrous hand. I mean, we could probably do anything.
She looks over at him,
just
looks back at you. She says, I don't know, she says. Reaches down and starts scratching your wolfhound underneath her chin. She goes, I don't think I would underestimate a man that would run with wargs. She scratches her chin. She goes, tells me that you're capable of a great deal.
Yeah,
The pack
And
isn't
here's-
following you anymore. She goes, the pack isn't following you anymore. Something you must have come to an arrangement. That tells me you're clever and resourceful, if nothing else.
Well, the arrangement was that I wouldn't kill them all and they'd go away.
No, is that so?
It is. Here's a really interesting plot twist for you, though. The wanted poster for Agrias is actually a scribe's mistake. It's missing 3 zeros on the end of that.
She looks at you. She looks over at the cap, at the colonel. The colonel's smiling from ear to ear right now. Shada just doesn't know what to make of it. She goes, I like this one. She kind of reaches over and touches the side of your face. She goes, you and I will talk later. If you wish, come over to the narrowed shawl. I sleep there. We'll talk tonight. She gets up
Ooh.
and she leaves.
It sounded vaguely like a threat. I'll bring my sword.
She looks
So-
over at you. She says, if you're bringing your sword, you better be ready to use it. And she leaves.
As soon as she turns her back, I guess.
She walks out of there, stops at the door. She goes, I wasn't talking about a blade. And she keeps
Right.
walking.
Oh my god.
Is
I
a
feel so
possible-
violated.
Brixton, you're at the shore right now with the rest of the crew. With Calissa. And your 2 apprentices. There is a bunch of crates all piled up over there, and there's a big barrel.
It's just great.
Barrel's probably about maybe 7 foot tall, you figure, maybe about 5 foot, 6 foot wide. Big iron bands around it. She walks over to the barrel and she kind of pats it on the side. She goes, do you know what this is?
I mean, I know what it is, but do I know what it is?
Uh-huh. Make me a 20-sider.
16.
Yeah, you do know what it is. If you think you know what it is, you can say it.
Apparatus of Qualish?
Oh, you're familiar with the maker. She rubs her hand on it. I don't know that this was made by Qualish himself, she says, but it's certainly whoever made it, she says, certainly worked from his notes. She says, yes, this is it. She goes, this is what we're going to use to go up and down from the surface. Down to where we expect the city to be.
Can I say, I say this is what I'm going to use, and then can I get Aurora to do a
Yeah,
flip in the
yeah.
water?
Uh-huh. You go ahead and you call Aurora out. She kind of breaches Sunny and Lily's eyes get really big. They're like, wow. Calissa kind of moves her eyes. She says, that's... She looks at you, looks at it, looks at you, looks... That's impossible. That's your familiar. How did you do that? She looks at you.
No idea.
She says, I didn't think that at the camp I could be bound as familiars. Oh, that's fascinating. She looks at it. She pulls out her notepad and starts writing down something. You'll have to tell me all about this.
Yeah. I have one issue, though.
Oh, she stops.
I can't breathe underwater.
Oh, dear. Oh, that is quite a limitation. She puts her things back.
Can you help with that?
Yes and no. Did the colonel tell you yet about what exactly why you're here?
Why I'm here?
No, your whole group of mercenaries.
Have the beholder's pain.
Something about a lost civilization of elves.
I meant
CL?
more immediately. You're here to defend the camp, yes, but did he tell you about the ruins?
Under the water?
No. South
No.
of here, she says, that over in the Axewood, she says, if you go a little bit south of here, there's some ancient orcish ruins. Okay, it was once a city that was destroyed by the men of the Bone March, and they did something to it. The orcs are afraid to return to it. But I have some information that there might be within it some items that might make our job a lot easier. Apparently, these were men of the sea, and I have rumors that exist. I've read that some of them were able to breathe the water, some of them were able to walk on it, some of them were able to do all manner of crazy things with it. I think it was done according to the legends through magic items. If we could lay claim to them, it would help us immensely. I'm surprised the colonel didn't tell you about that.
Not yet,
Oh, well,
but thank you.
I'm sorry if perhaps I've overstepped my bounds talking
I
about
don't
it.
think so. I appreciate it.
Oh well, yeah. I just he's my patron and employer. I don't want to alienate him by divulging too many of his secrets.
I understand.
She nods.
Yeah.
Well,
Can I
please.
show her that potion?
Yeah.
That gaseous potion?
Mhm.
Does she know what it is?
She looks at it. Looks at it close. Kind of turns it around. I know what this is. You see this? See the smoke?
Yeah.
She runs her fingers along the side of it, pulls her wand out, taps it once, and turns it and faces it to you. And in common, it reads out, "Breathe me deep, and as am I, so will you be."
Got it.
She hands it back to you. She goes, "Oh, that was an easy one." It's usually not that easy, but I'm sure you already know that.
And sometimes it's tricky.
Well, she says, "You're not a mage, are you?"
Kind of, sort of.
No, what
Mostly
you are,
illusion.
she says, is you are a trickster. You're a charlatan. And I mean that in the most complimentary of ways, please. I am not
Yeah.
one of those type of magi that denigrates illusion magic.
That what, sorry?
Denigrates it. I know that a lot of mages tend to look down on illusion magic, the substance of shadow not being real or whatever, but it's effective.
I introduced myself as Selsri Kizbala is my real name.
Sesri Kambala. Old Nim. Oh, that's... I know your clan, I think. Yes, I have it in my notes right here. She pulls out her book. She flips over. Yes. You're from the just beneath the mountains over here in the Griffs, right?
Correct.
She nods. She taps it a couple times. She goes, "You have quite a lineage." Closes it back up.
I do.
You don't know?
Not much.
Oh, we have much to discuss. I have tales for you. But your bard should already know that. The man, the gentleman, the Wildlight, he's a bard, isn't he? I saw his guitar.
He's not yet. No.
No? Oh.
No, he just plays guitar.
Oh, I presume too much then. He just seems very, very intelligent, very well read. That's all.
He is. He tries to be anyway.
She nods. She goes, "Well, I do like all of your group. I am a little frightened of the masked one, though. Why does he wear a mask?"
The color of his skin.
Oh, I thought he might have been disfigured.
Well, I mean,
By nature.
Meanwhile, as you're having this conversation, Arion, you're out in the woods. I need you to make me a percentage dice. Tobias is sniffing around at trees and everything and things like that. Every once in a while, he'll tell you, deer, badger.
3.
3. 0, 3?
3.
Okay. You're about 300 yards out, 300 feet out, I should say, out into the woods, scouting around. And way ahead of you, probably about another 300 feet out, you see a disturbance in the woods. Something has been there that close. You gonna go out and look at it?
It has been. It's
Has
not being,
been, not there right now.
Okay.
You gonna check it out?
Yeah, big, small, what?
Well, what you end up
like,
finding out is there's been a tree that was standing here that somebody cut down,
okay,
and they were building kind of like almost looks like a bunker there in that spot. There's a lot of foot traffic around here, about human-sized, heavy boots, um, set in the air. Uh, Tobias confirms it's orcs. But wait, there's something else there. Something he's never smelled before. He says it smells like a dog.
so do I smell like warg since he's already
No,
figured that
not a warg. Different.
one? Okay.
Smells like a
I'm
dog, but
guessing
not a dog.
I'm guessing probably null because that had been mentioned.
Yeah, you're probably that's what you're thinking too. But whatever was here was trying to build a bunker.
So a bunker against the settlement, more or
Yes.
less.
Yes. Looks like they were trying to build cover in case they were going to attack it.
Okay. This is one though, right?
Just one. Hmm.
Okay. How is he responding to some of these things that I've been
Make me a
teaching?
20-sider.
10.
He's pretty well behaved today, actually. He's responding pretty well to it. You don't know how it's going to be when you can't talk to him, but right
Right.
now with
That's why
talking to him and everything, it's working out really well.
That's why I'm trying to do it now
Yeah,
while
exactly.
I've got respect.
Exactly.
also
Right now, it's
telling
working
him-
out really well. But that's what you
I'm
see.
I'm also telling him too. It's like, I'm sorry for being the ass, but it's like it was a disturbing time right at that point, and I wanted to get my point across. So
He just kind of looks at you a little bit like, you know, you worry a lot about what other people think. You should be more like me.
yeah, I don't want to eat that much.
No, 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 no. Like for example, when you were talking to the dwarf, he goes, you were all worried about his feelings or whatever. Should have just said what you had to say and then go on. Whatever he thinks is what he thinks. If he wants to, if he gets mad at you, then punch him in the face.
I'm not that way.
You need to be more like that because I can see right now, I can smell on you all this worry, all this bad feelings. You shouldn't feel like that. You should just do whatever you want. Listen,
Yeah.
you're a man of the woods, right?
Yeah.
You are a priest of a nature goddess,
Yes.
right? Give into your nature. You're an elf. Be who you are, not what these people are telling you to be.
Well, I'm not doing that for that point. I'm doing it because I'm part of a group.
Oh, and you're worried about them, right?
I'm worried about them because that is what. Think of it this way. Say I know since I basically I rescued a cub, so you don't know family as per se, but in that sense.
Oh
But
no, I know
think
about
of it-
family.
think
I
of
know
it-
that I've got a family. I've got a father, and
Right.
he withholds food from me and locks me up in carriages. And he's whenever I don't do exactly what he says, and he basically
Like
if
I
there was ever
said,
anybody else that could speak to me, they would realize what a horrible person he is.
wrong. He doesn't understand. That's what I'm trying to get across to him.
He doesn't get it at all. He doesn't get it. Problem
Right.
is, he's a Wolverine. He's motivated by two things: violence and food.
Right.
But
But
he does have an affection for you.
Right. And
That's it.
I'm trying to point out that there are creatures that do care for others. And they
Right,
have to do
exactly. But the thing is, he can't relate.
that. I know it's going to be a headbutting type of thing to try to get it through. There.
Right. He looks over at you and says, "What should we do with this thing? Should I spray it?"
No. Um.
They'll never want to
Well-
use it again. I can guarantee you that.
No, I know that, but then better to be prepared on something we know than something we don't.
Okay.
They do. We ruin this one. at least we know it's here. They may build something else somewhere else that we don't see.
Oh, so like when you're hunting rabbits, you don't want to scare them out of the ward. Got it. Just dig in there and get them. Man, I'm hungry for rabbit. Doesn't that make you hungry for rabbit?
Yeah.
Doesn't rabbit sound really good right now?
No. No. Do we see any other tracks and?
No, that was it. That was about it.
And about how far away from the settlement is this?
Probably about a total of 600 feet.
That close.
Yeah, they came really close at one point in time.
I don't know if I've got anything to put any kind of like I need a thief to sit there and try to set some traps, but I might be able to do some snare, like woodsman tripwires or something too.
You can try and rig something up. It wouldn't be as effective as you had Brixton there, though.
No, but I'm wondering, almost like a tripwire or something,
like a snare or something, like a hunting snare,
or something would.
Well, you could try and set it up and roll a 20-sider, and I'll tell you how effective you think it's going to be.
Okay.
Give me a 20.
I'm going to try to do it on like either side of the deal.
Make me a roll.
14 on one side and an 18 on the other.
You're not thinking it's going to be all that great. It might catch somebody. Actually, it will probably be more effective against game, you figure, than something really intelligent.
Okay.
Okay, so Ariane, you're out there setting that up. Agrias, you were back at the command with the colonel, as was Rainmar. Brixton, you were over there at the beach, and everybody is doing their jobs. Everybody is starting to work as you've laid it out for the group. Is anyone want to accomplish anything else before the end of the night?
Yeah, I wanted to
go to the captain's quarters.
Don't worry, I got that covered.
So, I wanted to ask the colonel if there's a possibility of sending a courier out with a letter.
Oh, of course, I can have someone send something.
Excellent.
Oh! I almost forgot. He goes, the captain. You know how she knew your name, right?
No, I don't.
We received a letter for you.
Oh, lovely.
She received it by carrier. She goes, a bird.
A bird.
Hmm? I think it was a dove. She said.
Okay. Can I have the letter?
Oh no, she's got it. She's kept it. I suspect that's truly why she invited you to her quarters.
Well, so should I just give her the letter I have here for my friend?
Of course, I think that would be good.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go over and head over to the pirate ship and slay myself a pirate.
Slay or lay?
Brixton, anything you want to accomplish before the end of the night?
I'll just quiz the girls on their knot tying and.
What I'm gonna do.
Okay, this is the one I learned how to make. Lily says, and she holds up a hangman's noose in front of you. It's on page 22.
You know what it's for?
Not really. They call it a noose, but I don't know what it's for. Brixton, that's not how gnomes don't really do capital punishment.
Yeah. So I know what it's for?
No, it says that it's used as a slip knot kind of thing right here. We can move back and forth like this.
That's really cool. You should go. You should. It's like a necklace. You should put it on Agrias.
Oh, you think he'd like it?
I think he'd love it.
I'll go right now and put it on him. He'll be so surprised. I really want to make a good impression on him, so I'll go put it on him right now.
Well, we'll make a good impression on him.
She leaves.
You tighten it hard enough.
And then I'm gonna. kind of to wind down, I'm gonna spend some time with that deck of cards I found,
Okay.
just trying to figure out the markings. But I'm also gonna sit with Merrick and Einar.
Okay. You sit with them. Neither of them really says too much. I think a lot of the what's happening after the initial shock is settling in on them. And at the first night when they would probably be talking to their sisters, neither one of them knows really what to do, so they just kind of are sitting there around the fire. David, you end up finishing your scouting job. That's really all you saw. You went ahead and you set your traps. Agrias,
I fill Agrias in on that, or whoever I need to.
okay, you're back at the commander's tent with the colonel, and the colonel is talking to Agrias. Agrias, could you make me a 6-sider, please?
4.
You watch Lily come in, Arion. She looks at you. She goes, "Could you lift me up in the air just for a second?" To you, Arion.
Lift you up. Okay.
Give me a boost, please. She does. Agrias, you're talking to the colonel, and all of a sudden you feel something slip down around your neck.
I'm
going to spin around and throw a punch.
Okay. Go ahead. 20-sider, please.
20-sider?
Yeah.
4.
Okay. David, make me a 20-sider, please.
I know who's in that tent.
a 1.
Okay. Agrias, you spin around. Lily moves her head. You punch Arion right in the face, and he drops Lily, who's holding onto the rope, and it actually pulls you down to the ground in a huge tumble with her.
Do I land on her?
Yes.
Perfect.
You're on top of her. She's looking up at you, terrified, wide-eyed. Arion, there's a little bit of blood coming out of your nose. And she's like, Bridget told me you really like this knot. I showed you, it's like a necklace knot, and he said you really like it. And oh God, please don't kill me.
I'm taking my mask off and trying to figure out, wiping that.
The colonel was looking at you two like, what in the hell just happened?
Throw the noose around her neck.
Well, that's me. I just got hit.
Yeah. Oh, Shauna comes over to you. Oh my gosh. She's looking at Arion. Are you all right? She's got her handkerchief out. She's like trying to dab your face a little bit. Put some water on there. She's like, oh, rubbing your face a little bit.
Arion, are you okay?
Hello.
Do you like your
My
necklace
bad.
knot?
That I believe that one was for Brixton. And I look at Lily.
Do you
Who
like
told
your
you to do
necklace
that?
knot? She looks at you and just looks really scared.
All I remember is a fist coming at me. I don't know what happened.
Do you like your necklace knot?
No, I take off the noose necklace.
I didn't know it would do that. I promise. I didn't know it would make you mad. Brixton said you would really like it, and
It was Brixton.
I mean, it was my idea. I did it. I did it. I should be. I'm the one who did it. It's my
Okay,
fault.
so I put it around her waist and tighten it, and then I start walking out and drag her and draw my sword.
Okay, you're doing that. Rainmar, you're walking up towards the shore, and you're seeing Brixton over there. He's sitting there with. He's starting to walk back towards the center of the camp. He's towards where Merrick is with Einar.
Do I notice him coming?
No, not yet. Raymar sees him. Are you going to do anything? He's got Lily with a noose around her waist. He's dragging her basically towards the middle of the camp, and he does not look pleased at all.
With my blade drawn.
He's got his blade drawn, by the way.
I look down at my wolf and I just go like this toward Lily and is it Lily?
Yeah, she starts running over towards where Lily is.
And then I follow closely behind.
Okay.
I'm muttering something about I think I might have to sick Tobias after our little gnome.
Brixton, David, make me a 20-sider, please.
All right. We got a 13 this time.
Okay, Shauna's trying to trying to wipe off your blood and everything like that. She's just shaking her head. She says,
Oh,
"What was
don't
that
worry
even
about it.
about?
Huh?
What was that even about?"
Don't
I-
ask me. I have no idea. She just asked me to lift her up. I have no
Was
idea.
that really a hangman's noose?
Oh, God.
Brixton, as this is going on, you're sitting there in front of the fire, crackling the fire. Everybody's kind of quiet.
I tell her, welcome to the drama of this group.
And she goes, and you hear kind of a sound coming from behind you, and you look over and you see Agrias walking towards you. His face is this mask of, he's like totally stone faced. He's got his sword out. He's got Lily, he's dragging her across the ground by this noose that's around her waist. He does not look pleased at all.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna scream.
No, I'm gonna, cause cantrips are small casting, right? Cause you can cast multiple cantrips at once
Uh-huh.
in a segment.
Mhm.
I'm gonna cast haze so that he can't see anything, and then I'm gonna toot illusion me sitting at the fire, and I'm gonna hide.
Okay, well, hold on for a second.
That's my.
I need
game plan.
you to roll me a 20, Patrick.
17.
Patrick makes his saving throw, and the haze does not come off.
Oof.
What are you going to do? He's about maybe 15 feet from you. Agrias, what are you going to do?
Dude.
That's close enough to kill you.
What are you going to do,
Yeah,
Agrias?
get my hands on you.
Okay, Brixton, you got one more move before he is there.
Color spray? No.
Only if you want to die. I mean, dude.
I just wanted to spice up your life. You know, I couldn't.
He starts
cast hyper on
talking
your food.
even before you get there. So what are you going to do, Agrias?
He's so scared he starts rehearsing.
What are you going to
You
do,
learn-
Agrias?
You
Oh,
didn't
can you
learn
not
your
hear me?
lesson. Didn't learn his lesson from when he was trying to argue with Melindra, did she? Did he?
What are you going to do, Agrias?
I'm gonna pick Lily up and swing her into Einar's arms.
Lily, when you do it, shrieks because doing so puts her, you go arc her right over the fire into his arms. She looks terrified. She lands right in his arms. He grabs her. Merrick just kind of looks over. Raining gnomes again tonight, huh? Agrias, then what? You're right there next to Brixton.
How far am I from this mess?
Well, you're probably about maybe 30 feet now. The wolf cub has just showed up and is sitting there at the edge of the fire watching this. Agrias, your
I'm
move?
gonna sheath my sword, grab Brixton by the throat, and punch him in the face.
Roll me a 20, Cider, please.
Just roll low. 20.
7.
Okay, and now roll me an attack roll.
Which dice?
20.
20. 10.
Okay. Brixton, you feel yourself almost like grabbed by the chest, lifted up in the air, and Patrick, or I should say Agrias, throws a punch at you. You're so small, and your garb gives way just enough that he clears right over the top of your head. What are you going to do, Brixton?
Cry.
Change my underwear.
You're wearing underwear? That's a surprise.
I'm gonna. Can I break free?
You're going to make me a 20 cider.
I'm gonna try to get out of his. I got a 1.
Have an elf soul.
Okay. Agrias, you're sitting there. You punch over his head. Brixton reaches down on the sides of his leather armor, pops both clasps, and falls out of it. And he's on the ground, escaped out of it. You're holding his leather armor in your hand.
Oh my god. Okay.
What are you gonna do?
I yell to everyone in the camp, 20 gold who gets me the gnome.
Herrick comes flying out of one of the carriages with his crossbow and his axe.
No.
By the way, can I hear this from where I'm at right
You
now?
do hear that.
Okay.
Agrias, you're there now. I mean, Rainmar, you're there now.
I yell out, Tobias.
Okay.
Tobias comes flying out of the other thing. Of the command tent.
Hold on. Time out. I gotta put an end to this nonsense. So, because somebody's gonna get hurt. So basically, I tell the wolf to follow Brixton, but I'm trying to gesture to Brixton like, dude, let's get out of here before you get killed because you're gonna get fucking murdered.
Are you gonna do that, Brixton? You're gonna run it towards him?
Yeah, I'll go to Rainmar.
Okay, you start running over to Rainmar.
Well, where's Herrick at?
Herrick is over there leveling his crossbow at you. He goes, "Oh no, you don't," and he shoots.
You're supposed to catch him, not shoot
He
him.
misses you, clears over your head.
I'm gonna die.
He's like, "Damn it, gnome, stay still." You hear him say.
How close am I to Brixton?
Well, you're now right next to him. And
Okay,
there's a Wolverine running out of the command post right at Brixton.
Okay, listen. I pick up Brixton
Uh-huh.
and I growl hard at everybody in this place that we're gonna stop this madness.
Arion?
I make my number 6 a sharp whistle.
Okay, you put up, and he actually listens. He stops. He looks at you. He goes, "I want you to know I'm listening to you, not him." Herrick looks over at you. He goes, "Grias?"
And I just start walking right toward Herrick. You're gonna put that fucking crossbow down or you're gonna have it for dessert.
Herrick looks at you. He goes, "Agrias?"
I was like, remember what happened last time you messed with me?
He looks over at you. He goes, He goes, "You happy with this?"
All right, everyone settle down.
Okay. I walk over.
He puts the crossbow down when you say that.
I walk over to Agrias, set down Brixton on the ground next to me, and I said, "I think you owe me 20 gold."
Oh man, he cheated, Eric says.
I walk out of the building, wiping my nose, and says, "You did a good job." Bam.
Hey,
Merrick just kind of shrugs his shoulders. He goes, "Well, he did bring you back to Gnome."
Herrick, you know what they call a cheater who wins?
Winner.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured. All right, I guess show's over. He goes back into the caravan.
I'm going to snag my armor from Agrias.
Okay. So the three of you guys are standing there. Arion, you're coming over to the group. The fire is crackling at night. And that's where I'm going to leave us off for the evening. I actually went way farther than I usually do for the evening. I just looked at the time. So for those of you who have watched us tonight, yeah, I gave a bonus hour out tonight. I was having a lot of fun. I kind of lost track of time, to be honest with you. So I hope you guys had as much fun as I did tonight. Is there anything you guys have fun tonight in the game?
That was awesome.
Okay, good. I'm glad you guys had a good time. For everybody who's out there in Twitch land, thank you so much for tuning in. David Aho, Patrick Hope, Jeremy Brazil, Matthew Lazinski, signing off for the first Betrayal. Tune in next 2 weeks from now. We're going to have the denouement of what happened, a.k.a. how Agrias didn't kill Brixton. Rest of you guys stick around for a little while. We'll do a little bit of bookkeeping, and we'll sign off as well. Good night, everybody.